This stream is sponsored by Brilliant.
We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be normal.
PM EDT pressure looks good.
Traveling up. Roger, roll with planet.
Water towers can fly! Yes!
Tango Delta nominal.
Flight downside SC off. Bring in SC off.
Yikes. You bet. Concur. We don't need any more of these.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another NASA Spaceflight launch live stream. I'm Jack Beyer, content manager, video editor, photographer, live stream commentator, all sorts of things for NASA Spaceflight. I'll be walking you through the launch today, but it's not just me. As usual, we've got the whole team in play. We've got folks out in the field, and of course, we've got folks in the studio. And I see 5x5 in chat. Thank you so much, everybody, for acknowledging that we're coming through loud and clear. First up, joining me today is, of course, Ian Atkinson. What's up, Ian?
How's it going? Exciting to see an Atlas V launch here. Doing great, Jack.
Indeed, this is a Atlas 541 out of Slick 41 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. I almost said Air Force Base.
Throwback.
Space Force Station, right? I'm still not used to it. And also out in the field, we've got Julia Bergeron. Julia, what's up?
Why, hello there, Jack. Well, we're back. I feel like it's a bit of deja vu. The difference is that, hey, y'all, today we started stream at the beginning of the window in time for that, and I'm not sitting in my car under a phase 2 lightning warning, so we're a little bit ahead of where we were yesterday.
Excellent. I like the sound of that. In the words of Randy Quaid in Independence Day, I'm back, or we're back, I guess. No one's gonna get that. Also out in the field, we have Thomas Berghardt. Thomas, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Jack. Thanks. Like Julie said, out here for another day, but hopefully looking for some better weather cooperation today, seeing if we can't get Atlas off the ground this time.
Excellent. Hopefully we can. It is a good-looking rocket, and it's a good-looking day, although we'll see how that weather cooperates. Like we're talking about, it was scrubbed yesterday for weather, and today we are currently at 50% go, which is an improvement over, I think earlier it was like 20% go or 30%? Maybe it was 40. Either way, it's improved. So weather trending good, which is what we like to hear and see. And of course, last but never least, in the studio, we've got our live stream director for this launch, and it is Michael Baylor. I'm trying to appropriately assert what Michael does. He's a live stream director. Normally, I'm like, he pushes buttons and pulls levers and makes the thing work. And it's like, no, he's directing the live stream. He's doing a lot of work, and it's important. So thank you, Michael. All right, well, of course, this is a NASA Spaceflight live stream. So as usual, if you have any questions, tag at NASA Spaceflight in chat, and we will be able to see your question pop up in some software that, you guessed it, Michael wrote, and we'll be able to answer your questions and riff on your questions and do all that good stuff. But right off the bat, how about we start it off with a discussion of what payloads is Atlas launching today? It's 2 payloads, right, Ian?
Yeah, so there are 2 payloads on board, a primary and secondary payload, both of which are pretty impressive in their own light. So the first off is the WFOV satellite, or Wide Field of View, which you can see on your screen here. Now this has a new type of infrared sensor on board, and that is going to be used to sort of demo a new technology that could be used on future missile spotting satellites. There's already a few up in orbit, in geostationary orbit. I think there's one called Spears, I don't know how it's pronounced, but there are a lot of infrared
Sibbers. It's pronounced Sibbers.
Sibbers. Thanks, Thomas.
Okay, wait. I'm sorry. I have to break in really quick. I've never heard it pronounced Sibbers, but I love that because...
It's definitely Sibbers.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying I love it because I was going to propose we call this payload WFOV because it's WFOV, and I'm weird. But anyways, please go on with actual information, Ian.
But yeah, so Wide Field of View satellite, which you see on your screen here, it's about a 3-ton satellite, and Atlas will be injecting it directly into geostationary orbit today, which is relatively uncommon in the world of spaceflight. but it's usually only done when there's a very, very secret payload on board. And since you can see a picture of the WFOV satellite there, that's not that secret of a satellite, but what is secret are the secondary payloads on this mission. There's very little information known about them. So under the WFOV satellite is mounted the ESPA, the EELV secondary payload adapter. And EELV, of course, was the program that Atlas V was developed under, the Evolved Expendable Launch Vehicle. And the ESPA is basically a payload ring that supports several different payloads, but this one is not attached to this, is not going to stay attached to the second stage. This has its own propulsion, and it will essentially be its own test bed after it separates from the Centaur on this mission. So there are two main payloads on board, like we said, the WFOV and a secondary payload adapter. You can see a secondary payload adapter here. This is not the one flying on this flight. However, this is an older model. Like we said, there is not a lot of information as to what is flying on the payload adapter on this flight, but given that there's no information, it's something that you don't need to know, if you know what I mean. But yeah, so that's what's flying on this mission. It'll be a 7-hour duration mission from liftoff to end of orbit when all the payloads are injected into geostationary orbit. So quite the mission here. And this is using the Atlas V 541 configuration. That is the second most powerful Atlas configuration that is flown to date. And that makes use of a 5-meter diameter payload fairing, 4 solid rocket boosters, and a single Centaur engine on the second stage. Now, today we will see 3 burns of the Centaur on this flight. The first will be to get it into a coast or a parking orbit in low Earth orbit. It'll do a little bit of coasting there, then it will reignite to push the spacecraft onto a geostationary transfer orbit. Now, that is a very common trajectory to be used on a lot of space missions, but it does not end there. A few hours after that, it will burn an apogee to get the spacecraft into a geostationary orbit. So a lot of work to be done by Centaur today, but thankfully it's a very efficient upper stage, very powerful rocket, and it's going to be fun to see this payload fly today.
Indeed. I like the idea of a free flying payload adapter. That's kind of nifty. I don't know why that hadn't occurred to me as something to do previously, but that's sort of a nifty new thing with what was it? What did you say it was called? Is S how did you say it? The acronym?
I don't know. I don't know if it's pronounced this, but it's ESPA, ESPA. I'm guessing it's ESPA. Maybe it's ESPA. But yeah,
Hey, if
EELV
if
secondary
it's
payload.
WAFAV, we can call it ESPA.
Okay, I like WAFAV.
WAFAV and ESPA. Oh, cool. You can see one of the range safety helicopters going by there at the top of the frame. Neat.
And did you guys know the nickname for this variation of Atlas?
Oh, that actually goes into a question that we have from a viewer, but let's first talk about that. What is the nickname of this Atlas? Is it the Bruiser?
No, the
The
Dominator.
Bruiser's the Bruiser's the 551.
Ah, okay. So the Bruiser
Yeah.
is the one that's the only one that's more powerful than this one, right?
Yeah,
And
but
this is
Julie had its Dominator.
the Dominator. Nice. Well, that leads us right into our first question here from our viewers. Dap Dude, what's up, Dap Dude? Thank you for all you do, helping out with the channel and whatnot. Dap Dude is asking, what is our favorite Atlas 5 variant? I like the 511 with the weird single solid. I think that's my favorite. But really anything with the bigger fairing. The Atlas with the pointy fairing kind of irks me a little bit. I don't know why. But I like the bigger, the 5-meter fairing. How about you? What is your guys' favorite Atlas variant? Ian, you go first.
In terms of the ones that have flown, I would say actually the 541, the kind that we're looking at here, because this has launched a lot of cool payloads, including the Curiosity and Perseverance rovers. So this variant of Atlas has done a lot of cool things. But overall, I think my favorite variant would be the Atlas V HLV, which will never fly. If you think of a Delta
Oh,
4
you stole my answer.
Got him. But yeah, so think of a Delta 4 Heavy, basically an Atlas V version of that, a 3-core Atlas V. Would have loved to see that fly. Never going to fly, but yeah.
I love it. I like your picking of one that will not actually exist. Way to go. Classic. Julia, what is your favorite Atlas variant?
Well, first, I just want to go back to yours. Isn't that the one that kind of skids off the pad because of the one solid?
Yes.
Like it kind of does this nifty dance. So that's pretty cool. But as much as they picked one that wouldn't fly, I'm gonna pick an answer that it's a tie between this one and the Bruiser, just because I really like solids when we're out.
Yes.
there's something about that woof that happens at ignition, and then the
Yeah,
loud crackle afterwards. So
and the
it's kind of hard
contrail,
for me
right?
to pick. Oh,
It's
and the
not
contrail,
it's
yeah.
not like a purely liquid fueled vehicle where there's not really much of a smoke plume. Like the solids really let you know that there was a rocket that just went exactly that way. Um,
And frankly, they make pretty pictures because you have this neat contrast between the solids and the liquid engines. So
yeah,
there you
that
go.
makes sense. Just hide your remote cameras because they will get some residue on them.
Oh, we're not even going to talk about how much that itches when you go pick up your cameras.
And let's see, Thomas, what is your favorite Atlas variant? I mean, I guess you said
Yeah.
Ian stole your answer.
Well, I was gonna say that, but the more I thought about it, I think I actually have a different answer. I think the nickname for this one is the Bodyguard or something, whatever they call the N-22 that launches Starliner. That's my actual answer.
Interesting, nice. I had not heard that one. I feel like I've heard all the nicknames. I haven't heard that one. Well, that's a really good question from Dap Dude. Thank you,
I
buddy.
just went and tried to Google what the name was. It's like something along the lines of Bodyguard. It's a name that goes with protecting humans, but it could be like Guardian or something. Someone check me on that.
Resisting the urge to sing "You Can Be My Bodyguard," "You Can Call Me Out," all that, whatever. Anyways, moving on. Um, now it's stuck in my head. Let's see. Right off the bat, Feisty Ferret, thank you for upgrading your membership to Capcom. Run through a couple super chats real quick and get back to some viewer questions. Christopher, thank you so much for getting the reference. It's very appreciated. I am nothing if not full of obscure references. Moldy Space Industry, thank you so much for the support. They say they're also asking what our favorite Atlas variant is and why is it 411 hashtag Thomas Fan Club. Thank you, Moldy Space. I'm glad we just answered your question. Stefan, thank you so much for the support. They say thank you to the app Next Spaceflight. Brilliant for sponsoring, super chats and memberships for support, and especially to NSF for all your hard work. For real, I mean, it's like the way that we make this work is like a stool with like 5 legs. Is that a thing? But each of the legs on the stool is a really important way for us to be able to do what we do, and all of those things help. Also, go check out Next Spaceflight. It's a great app Michael wrote. Musical Wolves, thank you for the support. They say, what are the towers behind the Strongback? Not the 4 towers, although when 4 tower merch. Maybe someday soon. The towers behind the Strongback.
Okay, so I can speak to this. There's
Please.
not technically any strongbacks in this frame, but I think I know what they're talking about. So if we're looking at the rocket, the tower right to the left, or I shouldn't say right to the left, the tower directly to the left of the rocket is called the umbilical mast. That's where all of your umbilicals that carry propellants or electrical and data connections to the rocket are fed up from the that's part of the mobile launch platform that rolls out with the rocket. And that's how the rocket gets all of its connections to the ground before liftoff. The tower to the left of that I think this question is about, is the Corexis Tower, which was built at Pad 41 relatively recently to support Starliner launches. And then, of course, you have the 4 lightning protection towers. I think that covers all the towers that are in frame, so hopefully that answered the question.
Oh, talking while muted, my bad. Still getting back into the swing of things. Let's see. Thank you, Musical Wolves. Jim Cavett, thank you for the support. They say, were there any lightning strikes on those white pointy things yesterday? Did we see any sort of interaction with lightning in the lightning towers yesterday?
No, 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 no.
Yeah.
We did not. Thank goodness. It was mostly to the north of the pad between here and the VAB. But because of the proximity of those, that is why we were weather restricted yesterday. And
Aha.
Thomas, as we talk about lightning towers, what is the white on top? That's not metal, is it?
No, it's like plexiglass or something. It's
Fiberglass?
fiberglass. Thank you.
Fiberglass.
That sounds a
There's
lot
the
more better. You know,
answer.
I said that and I was like, that can't be right. Fiberglass. Thank you, Jack. But yes,
Someday.
it's not metal. It's a fiberglass. It's actually the point of the towers isn't really to attract lightning themselves. It's to raise those catenary wires that you then see strung from the ground to the top of the towers and around the launch pad. That's actually the lightning protection, more or less. The towers are just kind of there to get those wires elevated above where the rocket sits.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, the fiberglass is probably a really good insulator, and so it's the
Right,
point of the tower
exactly.
isn't to like take the strike directly; it's to hold up the wires that do.
Exactly. And we saw this at 39B not too long ago. I think that's the most recent example when I don't know if this was actual wet dress preparations. I think it was during preparation for one of the first wet dress attempts where lightning struck one of the catenary wires, and it designed exactly as expected. But they were looking at it, and obviously, even though the protection system is there, you never want to assume it worked perfectly. It's worth a quick check afterwards. So they were looking at it, and they looked at the footage and said, "Oh yeah, it literally struck one of the wires of the protection system, which is exactly how it's supposed to work."
Excellent. I like when things work how they are supposed to work. When things work how they are not supposed to work, but still work, that's also good, but less desirable. Dakota, thank you for the support. They say, do you guys think SpaceX will convert Pad 40 for crew, or will they stay with 39A? A little off topic, sorry. It is a little bit off topic, but thank you for the support. I wanted to acknowledge that you came out and helped us out to do what we do. Who knows is my answer. It's entirely possible. It's entirely possible they don't. We shall have to wait and see, I suppose. Susan, thank you for becoming a PadRat member. And Adrian, thank you for becoming a PadRat member. Again, there's a many-footed stool with which you can use to support NSF, and one of the legs on the stool is our membership program. So thank you so much to all of our members. You get super cool perks, and you are able to support us in that way. At Capcom and above, there is Discord access, and we have an absolutely wild Discord and a very informative Discord. It's a really cool place to hang out and chat, and you never know what's going to happen in voice chat. Sometimes I've eaten ridiculously spicy ghost pepper food in voice chat, or someone plays Kerbal and has a ridiculous mission or what have you. So definitely check out the membership program if it's something you're interested in. We appreciate the support from all of our members, from everybody. Everyone just watching. Thank you everybody for watching. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. Matthew Carpenter, last one here. Matthew, thank you for the support. They say, I'm on vacation in New Smyrna Beach. Will I be able to see the launch? New Smyrna Beach.
Yes. Yeah,
Please,
that's just south of Daytona. I'm familiar. I'm very familiar. Yes. Okay, I should put a caveat here. If there are clouds in the way, no. But under nominal viewing conditions, yes, that you're definitely within the range where you should see it. I highly recommend looking out towards the ocean, southeast from where you are. It'll be very high. These rockets, especially the ones with these solids, fly a pretty lofted trajectory early. So look higher than you think. Even in New Smyrna, you are close enough that it will fly pretty high up instead of flying way out downrange from your perspective. The clouds could get in the way. I hope they don't, but definitely worth taking a look.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Oh, holy cow. David Niswanger, thank you so much, coming in with a $50 super chat. That is a huge amount of support. Yet another leg on the stool to help us do what we do. So thank you so much, David. I mean, seriously, we got cameras out in the field. We've got cameras in McGregor. We've got cameras in Starbase. We've got cameras everywhere, and they're all pushing data, and the data isn't cheap, and our time isn't cheap. And it's just, we constantly are looking for ways to up what we do and make things even better. And y'all's support is integral to that. So once again, thank you so much. Space Nerd also saying, great job, guys. My favorite launch coverage team. Aw, well, thank you so much.
You know where else we have cameras, Jack?
Where else do we have cameras?
We have cameras in the air.
We do. We have cameras in the air. We do the flyovers of Cape Canaveral, and we've got Fleet Cam. We've got the camera in Cape Canaveral. So yeah, thank you for reminding me of that. Cameras everywhere, and that's sort of what DOS has been. Yeah, there you go. You see Fleet Cam right there. DOS is like our camera wrangler, herder, honcho, whatever you want to call him. He's so much more than that, but that is why we have cameras everywhere, because y'all support it, and DOS is master of putting cameras places.
A wise person once said that 70% of the Earth is covered by water and the rest is covered by NSF cameras.
That is, I am dying. I'm dying. That is amazing. Was that person DOS that said that?
I just made that up.
That is amazing.
Yeah, that is quality. You have clearly had your coffee today. All right, let's get into some viewer questions. How about? We've gone over the rocket, we've gone over what it's launching, and we've thanked some of the people who have come out for early support on the stream. So let's get back into viewer questions. Right off the bat, I am nothing if not self-serving. So James Atkinson asking if I still have face fur. Yes, I do. I have not shaved my beard. Maybe I'll shave my beard if Starship actually makes it to orbit on this first attempt, but no promises. We'll see what happens.
Oh, is that a bet? Is that a bet that's going on?
I just said no promises. I literally just said no. I like the beard. I don't really want to shave it.
I was going to say, someone's having commitment issues to making a bet, but I think he's very committed to his beard.
Yeah, I mean, last time I did shave it when 15 landed, so we'll see what happens. James Atkinson again saying, how many... What's with the beard questions? saying how many of the hosts have beards today? I know Thomas does. I know I do. Ian, what's your beard status?
Clean shaven. I shaved this morning. I shave every morning. Also,
Nice.
nice last name there. I appreciate that, fellow Atkinson.
I was
Yeah.
about to ask if there was any relation. I guess not.
I don't think so.
Do you see James at the weekly Atkinson meetings?
I think those are held over in England because Atkinson comes from England, but
Aha, got it. Well, bring Ian to England. How about that?
I'd like that.
Well, thank you for the question, James. Tommy is asking, where does Vulcan fit in the payload to orbit hierarchy compared to the other American launch companies? I mean, I think you can think of Vulcan in terms of replacing both Atlas and Delta. Is that an accurate way of thinking that? What do you said ooh, Thomas, so I imagine you have thoughts here.
Well, I'm trying to, because there's some comparisons that I know, and there's others that I'm not entirely sure on. So, Ian, maybe if you have a computer in front of you, you can check this. But I could, like you said, I could speak to the fact that ULA's goal with Vulcan is to provide above and beyond the capabilities that they currently have with Atlas and Delta IV. So the heaviest lift rocket of all of those is the Delta IV Heavy right now, which means that Vulcan's heaviest configuration is at least that. And off the top of my head, I do know that it's some margin above that. So the Vulcan variant with 6 solid rocket boosters is more powerful than the Delta IV Heavy is. As far as comparing it to, say, the Falcon family, I know at least some of the variants. I think Falcon 9 fits somewhere within the variants of the Vulcan Centaur family. I think still beats a 6 solid Vulcan Centaur. And then, so New Glenn is going to be somewhere between Falcon Heavy and Vulcan Centaur, maybe? I don't know how New Glenn compared to Heavy is Vulcan. But that gives you an idea where I know an expendable Falcon Heavy, I think, still beats the heaviest Vulcan. But when you add recovery into that, I think maybe it becomes a closer thing, or maybe Vulcan gets a slight edge.
That makes sense. It's still wild to me that a single stick Vulcan can beat a Delta Heavy. Is that like partially because of Methalox instead of wait, no, the core stage of Delta Heavy is Hydrolox, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the best way to describe it is actually to also compare it to a different rocket that I'm looking at right now. I can't pan the camera that way, but there's an SLS out here that operates on a very similar principle. Sometimes you'll hear a stage called a sustainer stage, which is basically it's a first stage, but you're going to strap a bunch of solid boosters to it, or I guess they don't have to be solid, but in most cases, solid rocket boosters that provide much of the thrust early on in flight. And the goal of the first stage or the sustainer stage is actually to fire for a very long time. The SLS core stage, if you flew the rocket a certain way, you could get the core stage all the way to orbit. The point of that stage is to have so much hydrogen and oxygen with those powerful but also very efficient RS-25 engines that stage can burn a long time and impart a lot of delta V, a lot of change in velocity to get to the moon, for example. Vulcan's design kind of operates under a similar idea. Those solid boosters are really designed to carry or to provide a lot of the thrust early on in flight so that the center core or the first stage, or you can call it a sustainer stage, with only 2 BE4s compared to New Glenn that has 7, for example, is less about providing a lot of early thrust and more just about being able to efficiently burn for a long period of time and provide a lot of delta V that way. So I think that is how you provide a lot of delta V. You get your first stage off the ground with solids, and then by the time the solids are burned out, you're high enough that you can take advantage of those more efficient burning, sustaining engines. And then, of course, you have a very efficient upper stage on top. So all of those factors combined gives you a lot of performance, even though it's a single stick vehicle.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the detailed answer there. I think I'm on record as saying this, so it's probably not a surprise to anybody, but I'm super excited for Vulcan. But today we are watching Atlas. But speaking of Vulcan and Atlas, Jelly Verbellion, I see Jelly pop up all the time, questions and support. I hope I'm not just butchering their name completely, but they're asking, will Vulcan use the same pad as Atlas?
Yep. Pad 41 right here.
Nice. Good question from Jelly. And let's see. I mean, we're getting some like general ULA questions here. Oh, Alan is asking, why does ULA not launch Delta 3? And the answer is because Delta 3 was cursed.
Hey, I love Delta 3. Delta 3 was a cool concept, a weird concept, but it was a very
from off screen, just like, "Hey, you leave Delta 3 alone."
Hey, Delta 3 fan club. Can we if we have Ares 1 fan club, we could have Delta 3
All
fan
right,
club.
hold
That's
on. All right,
fair.
Ian's opinions do not
Uh-oh.
necessarily reflect those of others on NASA spaceflight, just for the record.
Oh man. Perhaps the only more cursed rocket than the Delta 3 is the Ares 1. Sorry, Thomas. Anyways, moving on. Brady is asking, did SLS go back to the VAB today? Speaking of the SLS.
Not yet, but the current plan is for it to roll back overnight tonight. So we'll keep you
and
updated on
we
that.
have a hold for upper level winds. So weather is making fools of us all today. But hopefully we can come out of that hold and weather will improve. But that is late breaking news. Hold for upper level winds. Sorry, Thomas, what were you saying?
Nope, thank you for interrupting me. Yeah, just saying SLS is planned to roll back tonight, weather permitting. So by tomorrow morning, it should be back in the VAB, but it's still the pad right now. But to address the weather, upper level winds is a new concern that did not come up yesterday. Yesterday, we were only really looking at all of the rules that talk about the probability of a lightning strike, which I think they were also looking at today. But apparently, upper level winds now a watch item. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Yes, we sure will. Oh, weather. Let's see here. Some more viewer questions. Actually, I have a question because I'm a host. I get to ask the questions that I want to know. Style guide stuff. Should we say did the SLS go back to the VAB today, or should we say VAB today, or should we say SLS? Like should it be the SLS or just SLS? What's the Thomas, Mr. News Director? What do you think?
I believe it's not correct to say the SLS because there will be, well, and there are already parts for more than one. Like there's not only one. There's only one fully assembled and at the pad at this exact moment. But just like you wouldn't say, I guess you could say, did the Atlas V launch today? I think, to me, it's more natural just to say, did SLS roll back? I suppose it's maybe not incorrect to do either or.
All right. Well, we can
Well, that's
get
a
out.
disappointing answer from the news director.
No, I just figured I'd ask. We can get out of the weeds on that one. Moving on, let's do some more viewer questions. And of course, Julia, Ian, if either of you have something you want to pop in with, feel free. I'm just sort of blathering on here as usual.
Absolutely. Keep on blabbering.
Let's see. Your mom is asking, why is the time thing L minus instead of T minus? Who wants to go over how ULA does their? Well, it's not either anymore because we're in a hold. But who wants to go over how the countdown clock works for ULA launches specifically?
So, it is confusing, yes. So there are kind of, but not really, two separate countdowns. L minus is just straight up how many minutes until they're targeting liftoff. So that is why it started off, say, like L minus 50, and it went down to however close it was when we went the hold. But on ULA's side, T minus accounts for holds. So right now they're holding at T minus 4 minutes, meaning that they're not really doing anything up until they do the go no go poll, and then they resume the countdown from T minus 4. Then things start happening with the rocket. It's a little confusing. I think that's the reason they do that. I'm like 90% sure, but it might be incorrect though. It is confusing though. But yes, L minus is the raw countdown time.
Yeah, it's all about the built-in holds and whatnot. Which is just how ULA does things. It's different than SpaceX, but that's okay. Different companies operate differently. Let's see. Speaking of operating differently, Khalid is asking, does ULA static fire their engines? If so, where?
Ooh, good question. No, they do not. The RD-180 is not designed to be reignitable, and that's the engine on that first stage. And so pre-launch static fires are not a thing for the Atlas V rocket. Obviously, you can't static fire a solid rocket booster because you'd use all the propellant and have to recast the thing. And I don't believe RL-10s get like hot fire. Well, the RL-10s might get acceptance tested actually. So the RL-10 probably fires at a test facility. Aerojet Rocketdyne has a test facility in West Palm Beach, Florida. I don't know if that's where they do acceptance testing specifically. I know that's one of their test facilities. But either way, those engines would be acceptance tested before being handed off to ULA for launch integration.
Got it.
Rocket doesn't do a full static fire test either, to the spirit of the question.
I was muted, but I laughed when you said static firing the solids. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Wow. You have to go to Utah for that, I think. Let's see. More sort of ULA general questions because we're waiting for a hole to be cleared here, and because we're looking at a ULA rocket and a big ULA. What is that? What is the building on the right referred to as? Is that it's not a mobile access tower, is it? Or mobile access structure? What do we call the building on the right with the ULA logo?
No, that does not move. That's the Vertical Integration Facility, or VIF.
VIF, got it.
You're probably thinking of the one at Slick 37, which is a few miles south of here. That one does move, but the Atlas V one stays in place and the rocket moves to the pad.
Got it. Yeah, so let's do some more ULA questions. How about David Yeager is asking, going back to Vulcan a little bit, will ULA do any test launches of Vulcan, or is someone willing to risk a satellite on their first attempt? They have only one set of engines from Blue Origin so far, right? Question mark.
Yeah, so that's a good question. That's actually a question that ULA themselves are asking right now. So previously, the first Vulcan flight, which is set for later this year, but probably not later this year, that was going to have the Peregrine lunar lander on there. And now that is a lunar lander. I believe that's as part of the NASA's CLIPS program. But anyway, they were planning to launch the Peregrine lander on the first flight of Vulcan, but because of payload delays on Peregrine, they are now debating kind of pushing Peregrine to a later liftoff or a later launch, and instead doing a something for a demo launch. The ULA, they came out with that in the past few days. They came up with that information. We don't know what would be on board. Probably just a mass simulator, maybe Tory Bruno's car. But yeah, they're not sure whether or not they're going to have a payload on the first flight anymore.
I'm imagining the payload being just a horse. No spacesuit, no life support, just a live horse.
Jack.
I'm sorry. Chris B's gonna fire me now.
I was about to say you're gonna make Chris B cry.
Oh man. Let's see. Good question though. Let's see. AV99 is asking.
Quick, can I interject very quick?
Yes, please.
Just a quick update. It sounds like from the chatter on ULA's communication nets that they're expecting the Anvil Cloud rule to not clear until a little bit after the opening of the window at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So just another weather update for that particular rule. Again, we're also looking at upper level winds, but the Anvil Cloud rule that was read is not expected to clear until shortly after the window opens. The window opens at 6 p.m. local and extends until 8 p.m. local.
Got it. Oh God, Crispy is typing in our back chat.
Uh-oh. Well, Jack, it was a pleasure knowing you.
Oh God.
I'll take over hosting from here. No,
yeah,
kidding.
Right. AV99 is asking, how far south can you see the rocket launch? I'm in Deerfield Beach. I have no idea where that is. Does anyone know where that is?
Nope.
I don't know that one. Julia?
No, but I can pull up maps quick. Hold on, Jack. I'll help you.
We'll investigate.
Yeah, we can come back to this. I will put it back in the queue so we can let AV. I like letting people who are watching the streams know where they can see the launch from. That's always a question I like to get. Speaking of a question I like to get,
I think a general rule of thumb, at least for we just had it
there we go.
in the back channel. There we go. There's the visibility map. So if you're if you're on the eastern side of Florida in any way, not the Panhandle, you'll be able to see this launch if it is not cloudy.
Excellent. Well, if it is not cloudy is probably a big if, but there you go. Props to ULA for publishing these launch viewing maps. They're extremely helpful, and
definitely,
it's one of those things that can help the public be engaged and involved.
Yeah, I wish those were more common.
Right. So good question there from AV99. Really quick, I'll run through some more super chats because I do not want to get too far behind, and I do want to acknowledge everybody's support of the channel. Chris K, thank you so much. Holy cow, Chris K gifted 10 Red Team memberships. That's awesome.
Wow.
Is this like a new feature? I mean, I've been gone for a month. I know Michael allowed us to see this pop up in our software here, but is this like a new YouTube thing? How does this work?
Yeah, so YouTube recently as within like the last month or two, they've added a new feature where you can gift memberships. Now,
what determines who gets the gift? I'm like getting way into inside baseball here, but
I feel like I was told one time the answer. I totally forget it, to be honest. I think it might be random.
randomized.
It's gifted to the
believe.
most dedicated viewers, not random.
Okay.
Interesting. Good answer there.
Oh.
Well, thank you so much, Chris K. That's extremely generous of you to gift 10 memberships, and now 10 people will get to experience the membership program in all its glory. So enjoy that, y'all lucky folks. Speaking of membership program, Jay Vog, thank you for becoming a PadRat member. Very awesome of you. We really appreciate it. Ryan McCall saying, what configurations of the Atlas V compare to Falcon 9, Falcon 9 Heavy, respectively? Great. Keep up the great work. Well, we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but this is a little bit of an old super chat. But Thomas, I feel like you're the right one to go over this. How does Atlas V compare to Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy?
Quick, Ian, look up the mass to orbit of the 551, because I know it's less than Falcon Heavy and more than Falcon 9, but I don't know which Atlas variant surpasses, because the 401, which is like the least powerful Atlas V variant, offers less mass to orbit than a Falcon 9. But at some point, as you add more boosters and extend the fairing on Atlas V, you pass Falcon 9. You never pass Falcon Heavy. Falcon Heavy is more powerful than any of the Atlas variants. But Falcon 9 fits somewhere in the middle of the Atlas V variants. And if I had my laptop in front of me, I could Google it, but I'm going to let Ian do that because he has the computer.
Now, see, Thomas, I'm way ahead of you. I'm already on the stats page. So it really depends on where you're going with Atlas. So Atlas with the Centaur upper stage, because it's the Hydrolox upper stage, is excellent at getting payloads beyond low Earth orbit, whereas Falcon 9 begins to suffer a little bit. So in terms of low Earth orbit, Falcon 9 expendable is better than Atlas V overall. Falcon 9 expendable can get 22 tons into LEO, whereas Atlas can only get about 19 tons. But beyond LEO, Falcon 9, in terms of geostationary transfer orbits, Falcon 9 is about on par, maybe a little bit less than the variant on your screen, the 541.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Let's see. Andrew, thank you for the support. They say, love the Paul Simon mention. I'm sure there's a lyric somewhere in You Can Call Me Atlas about a short little SRB. Good evening from Stockport, UK. Well, good evening, Andrew. Thank you for the support there. I'm glad you liked my stupid references. Jay Vog again with some more support. Thank you, Jay. Corey E, thank you so much for the generous super chat there. They say, how important is Rocket Lab to the Moon and Mars missions? Thank you guys and gals for all that you do. I'll just jump on that grenade really quickly and say Rocket Lab is important because even if they're not directly launching, like a human crewed mission to the Moon or Mars, they can pick up the slack and launch other things or things that support a human mission. So definitely important. Does anybody else have any thoughts on Rocket Lab and Moon and Mars missions?
I'll just add that, of course, they launched the Capstone mission just a few days ago, which was, by some accounts, depends on how you keep track, but under some accounts was the first launch of the Artemis program, launching the satellite that will help pave the way for the Gateway Station and things like that. And so Rocket Lab is directly involved in that sense. Also, I can add that a company that Rocket Lab recently acquired as a subsidiary provides a lot of solar panels and a lot more solar cells for solar panels for a lot of different spacecraft and systems. I think they might have even acquired the company that provides the solar cells for Orion. Someone will have to triple check me on that, but I think that might be true. But either way, they're also contributing in that sense to a lot of different missions, which will include missions that support the Artemis program. So, yeah.
Cool deal. All right, well, if you're just tuning in, we are at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. That is a ULA countdown sort of thing. When they resume the clock, it's not going to be 4 minutes to go, right? Like we're in a hold for weather, but it's also T-minus 4 is a ULA hold point, right?
Yeah, we did discuss it earlier. The difference between L minus and T minus. So if you look, T minus is not counting right now. T minus accounts for the built-in holds, and what they're going to do once they get cleared of the weather violation, which, as Thomas said earlier, they're expecting the weather violations to be cleared around the opening of the launch window, which is good to hear. But around that time, they're going to do the go/no-go poll, where they do all the vehicle checks, make sure everything's good. Then once everything is good, they'll resume the clock at T-minus 4 minutes.
Excellent. Let's see. Holy cow, Chris K gifted 20 more Red Team memberships. That is so many memberships. Thank you so much, Chris K. And I should note that the people that get the gifted memberships, it's weighted towards active participants on the stream. So I don't know, maybe like and subscribe. I hate myself for saying that, but it's what everyone says on YouTube because it matters and it affects the algorithm and it affects how our video shows up. And yeah, if you want to get one of those gifted memberships, maybe hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed. And thank you, Chris K, so much for doing that. That's really awesome. It like gives people a taste of the membership program. It supports us, and it's just a really cool thing to do. Thank you, Chris. Jeff Brown also thought horse for the test payload for Vulcan. Jeff Brown, you and I are friends. Dale Kirkwood says, fly me to the moon. Thank you for the support, Dale. Dank Jeb with the Delta 3 fan club and some support. Thank you, Dank Jeb, for all of your support throughout the years. Why am I not surprised that you're a member of the Delta 3 fan club? I am not surprised.
There are dozens of us.
Yeah.
Dozens.
Solid reference. Reference acknowledged. Adrian Vaughn, thank you for the support. They say, I would like to thank all the people behind NSF. Well, thank you, Adrian. All right, we are cleared out for Super Chats. Let's go back to viewer questions while we wait for this hold to clear up. Lambo just gifted 10 memberships. Thank you, Lambo. I assume this Lambo is the Lambo. I'm just going to go with it. Thank you, Lambo. Also, we need to play some Counter-Strike again soon. It's been too long. Turtle Boy. We got some good viewer names today. Turtle Boy 1209 is asking, is there a cooler looking rocket than this one? I would argue Starship.
Well, that's a minefield of a question.
That doesn't make me as like a star. Like I love all rockets, but Starship is just kind of crazy looking. Although I will say, of all Atlases, I think this one looks the most badass.
If I may,
kind of like
one at a time. Ian, go.
Saturn V, end topic.
Okay, fine. Julia?
I was going to say Delta because Delta blue.
Okay, yeah. That blue is legit. I sort of wish SLS was Delta blue. Although, I do like orange. I'm on record as really liking orange, so perhaps it's on brand for me. Thomas, did you have a thought there?
I was going to say a point of confidence for the other Atlas variant with the 4-meter fairing, because the pointy, like 4-meter diameter payload fairing also looks pretty cool. It makes it look like it kind of looks more like ICBM but it's one of those the look of an ICBM that's now being used to launch not ICBM payloads, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I like that.
The 5-meter fairing looks more smoother. It looks more like it was designed as a space launch vehicle, but I think the 4-meter fairing looks cool too. So a note there.
All right, well, so we don't all get fired. I'm just going to say shuttle, because side-mounted orbiter for the win, even if it is stupid. Oh God,
yeah,
now we're going to get fired.
That's a good point. No.
Oh,
Tonight is a lesson in teaching Jack when to stop.
Yeah. Can't stop, won't stop. Let's see. What else do we have here for viewer questions? Here's a really, I like this question a lot from Harris. They're asking, isn't or aren't only 2 satellites flying today, so why the huge fairing?
Ooh, I know this one.
Go.
Well, okay, first of all, we're pretty sure there's only 2 payloads, but the secondary ring that we talked about could, in theory, deploy satellites later. Sometimes they do that. It's also possible all of the research payloads are just hosted onto it and won't separate. We'll only find that out later on by amateur trackers keeping track of the things in orbit. But the reason that this rocket is being used, this configuration, is because it's going all the way to geostationary orbit, and it's not even a geostationary transfer orbit. If you saw the Falcon 9 launch a couple days ago, that launch left the satellite in an orbit where the highest point in the orbit was at geostationary altitude, but the lower point was much closer to Earth, and the satellite has to do the final maneuvering to get in a fully geostationary orbit on its own. This mission will not do that. This mission is going to insert the satellites into almost already a geostationary orbit. There'll be very slight maneuvers to keep everything spaced out and let Centaur kind of get out of the way after the fact. But basically, it's inserting it directly into a geostationary orbit. And in order to do that, you need as much propellant left in that upper stage, the Centaur stage, as possible, so it has enough propellant to do all that maneuvering. Which is why you put more solid rocket boosters on the bottom of the rocket. That means the first stage can throttle down earlier in flight and burn at full thrust for less time. That means that once the solid boosters separate, the first stage can burn for a little bit longer and push that upper stage and its payloads higher before the Centaur stage has to take over. And that is how you reserve extra propellant for the upper stage to boost everything up to geostationary altitude, and then also do the burn that circularizes it into that geostationary orbit.
Got it. Very cool. I mean, yeah, that direct injection is a big part of preserving the life of satellites, making them not have to do all the work themselves. Like, it makes sense. Oh wow, we have like a gifted membership bonanza going on here. Dougal, thank you for gifting the 5 red team memberships. Moldy Space, thank you for gifting 5 red team memberships. And Corporal Daywalker, what's up, buddy? Thank you for gifting 10 red team memberships. That's a lot of gifted. We have a lot of new members on this stream. Hopefully, some of y'all stick around after the gift expires, and hopefully you like the perks that we have to offer for the membership program. The preview videos, the photos from Nick and Mary out in the field, all of the cool stuff that we put up on the YouTube channel as part of the membership program. So enjoy that for sure. Thank you to everybody who's gifting those memberships and helping spread the love around. Ryan Hamstra saying N1 was a pretty epic looking rocket even though it never flew. Fair. I will not disagree with that. Okay, we have a question here about Centaur. When will we see another 2-engine Centaur launch? Is that something they do exclusively for Starliner, or how does that work?
Yeah,
Well, if you count Vulcan.
Also Vulcan?
Yeah, they do it for Starliner, but also Vulcan will be doing it exclusively dual-engine Centaur. So I guess whichever comes first, the first Vulcan flight or the crew flight test of Starliner. Anyone want to place bets on that? Because I definitely don't.
Yeah, pass. Hard pass. No thanks.
Ugh.
And we're back. All right. Minor Discord tweaks happening there. Thank you for your patience, everybody. Let's get back to viewer questions. Christ Resonance is asking how many Atlas Vs are planned to launch before it officially retires. Is there like an unofficial retirement? No, I'm kidding. How many Atlas Vs are left? Do we know?
I do not know that off the top of my head.
We can put that back in the queue and go to another question really quick here. How about?
Yep.
Let's see. Benjamin Walski is asking, does it look like we'll get to see the last Florida Delta IV launch, the Delta IV Heavy? It shows no earlier than August. I know we're expecting one from the West Coast because that's where I am and that's what I paid most attention to. And that will be the final West Coast one. And I think there's one or two after that will be East Coast. Thomas?
I think you're correct there, Jack.
Okay, so there we go.
I will also defer to final confirmation to the guy in front of the computer, which is Ian here.
Let's see. More viewer questions. And don't forget, at NASASpaceflight, I'll be able to see your question. It'll pop up. And yeah, confirmed. 1 West Coast, 2 East Coast. Thank you, Alex. Keith T is asking, are the lightning protection towers there to protect the rocket from lightning? Yes. Good question, Keith. Joshua is asking, how many miles away can you get to the rocket for the live streams? Like, how far away are you guys and our cameras right now? It's a couple miles, right?
I believe we're about 3.5, Julia. Is that about right?
Yeah, I believe we are just under 3. I thought it was roughly 2.8 from here, but I can tell you that we are about the same distance away as the emergency teams at their fallback zone. So we're about as close as you can get.
We're
actually closer than Atlas Mission Control, Atlas Launch Control. is in a that we pass on the way to the viewing spot. So, for some context, we're closer than the ULA engineers are.
That's wild. Yeah, let's and we got a map here so you can see.
Yeah,
Excellent.
so we are on Loop Road, Michael, if you want to try and point it out. It's right where it says ITL Warehouse, the loop that goes around that. We're on the top part of that loop.
Oh, nice.
From your perspective. Yep, right there. Thank you.
I cannot Discord preview's not high enough that I can see what it actually says right there, but yeah. It reminds me of here we go. It says about 2 miles. Oh no, 3.41 is what it says. So there we go.
Oh,
Okay,
darn.
that
Okay.
sounds about right.
Nice.
But I can tell you that where we are, we can feel these launches, especially
yeah.
when they're solids.
You
Yeah.
feel it in your chest.
Oh, very much so, especially with 4 solids today. Yeah.
Super cool. Yeah, it's always fun when you're like near the emergency teams. There was a Delta Heavy launch from Vandy not too long ago where the red team was basically like 100 feet away from us at an intersection, like ready to go. It's like, okay, so we are in the good spot. And that is sort of like a perk of being in the media and being able to get up close and personal with these rockets getting cleared to get onto these facilities. The public, if you're a member of the viewing public, do we know like where the closest you could get to? Is that like Playa Linda or something? How does that, or maybe like Jetty?
Well, for a launch like this one, you can go to the south gate of the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station and sit at the viewing stands hosted by the Space Force.
Oh, that's cool.
I would say that would be a great spot looking across for a launch like this from 41. That also works for Launch Complex 40 and 37. Now, when you're talking the Northern Pan 39 and even and yes, even 4041. If Playa Linda is open, that is absolutely a great place to watch, and I highly suggest everyone at least watch one launch from a beach.
Yeah, it's the Florida thing to do. We may have contour and mountains and cool stuff like that at Vandy, but we do not really have like up close beach viewing shots. I mean, there is a beach up close, but that's not where it's like on the military base. Anyways, Joshua, I hope that answers your question in terms of how many miles we are able to get close to these things. All right, so we are in a hold right now for upper level winds and the anvil cloud rule being violated. That is where we are. That's where we stand right now in the count. Things have held for weather. 2 different violations. The window for this launch lasts until 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It is currently 6:08 Eastern Time, so we have about 2 hours left in the window for the weather to improve. And really quickly, I see East Coast rules from the Shrew 88 in chat. Sorry, the Shrew, you're wrong.
Oh no, I think they're right.
Oof.
They're right. Just saying. Thank you. Sure.
I had to do it. I had to poke the bear.
The East Coast has 2 active launch sites, so
So does the West Coast if you count Alaska.
okay, fair.
Also Mojave.
Okay, fair.
Aha! In your face. We're very professional and cordial here.
We're all friends.
Yeah, we're all friends. We like to joke. Sippy Gamer saying, why does the Centaur upper stage get a separate name and not just called Atlas V upper stage? That's a cool question. I like that question.
Ooh.
Somebody answer it, please.
I will take that one because I really like the history here, and I'm literally reading about the history. So Centaur has a very storied history. It did start off on the original Atlas rockets. So way back in the 1960s, they wanted a very efficient upper stage using liquid hydrogen. So they created Centaur. And now over the decades, Centaur has been used over a wide variety of launch vehicles, from the Atlases to the Titans to even, it was considered for the shuttle and even considered for some Saturn rockets, such as the Saturn 1 and Saturn 1B. So Centaur has a very storied history, and nowadays it only flies on Atlas V. But because it has such a history and it has very deep roots in the space program, it's still continued to called Centaur because you can trace back its heritage to Atlas III, Atlas II, Atlas I, Saturn, Titan. So yeah, very storied upper stage.
Indeed. Thank you for that good answer. I have a super chat here from Austin 3.18 about ordering a pepperoni pizza. I'm just gonna flash it on screen. I have no idea what to make of this, but thank you, Austin, for the support. Let's see. Do we know how many Atlases are planned before it officially retires?
23, counting the one you're looking at right now.
23.
Yep.
Well, that's somehow way more than I was expecting. That's a lot of Atlases.
Yeah, they're going out till 2029.
Nice. Very cool. Let's see. We did that one. Looking for some more viewer questions here. Ultima is asking, how has ULA been able to compete with SpaceX in terms of price when all of ULA's rockets are not reusable? I think they sort of build in a certain amount of like value for mission success and mission assurance and track record and all of that. I think that's part of it. And of course, ULA has been cutting costs like mad as they attempt to compete. And I'm seeing, let's see here. No earlier than 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time clear for Anvil Cloud Rule. So we have at least until 6:30 local time, which is about, what is that? 19 minutes from now for that Anvil Cloud Rule to clear. And that's the earliest it could possibly clear. It could take longer than that, but the earliest it could possibly clear is 6:30 p.m. A little bit of weather update for you. Thomas, Ian, Julia, does anyone of you want to talk about how ULA has been able to compete with SpaceX?
I can touch on this briefly, and I'll definitely invite other people to add in. But I think the way to think of this is think of the people who are buying launches. The fact is, if you're a purely commercial customer who's looking for a ride to geostationary, for example, lowest possible price, you're not going to go anywhere other than SpaceX. Or I guess I should say, between SpaceX and ULA, you will go SpaceX every time. SpaceX beats them on price, simply put. If you are the US government, your motivations aren't purely the lowest cost. You also want to maintain redundant access to space, which is why the National Security Space Launch System was legally required to have 2 different launch systems involved with the launch contracts. That's how both ULA and SpaceX got launch contracts through that program, is because even though, sure, they would have saved a little bit of money if they launched everything on SpaceX, although SpaceX manifest might have been full at that point, there are other considerations. But simply put, the launches would have been cheaper per launch. The fact is that you would then leave a launch company in more financial trouble, and you might lose redundant access to space, which has ramifications down the line. So that's why the U.S. military continues to buy launches from ULA. For similar missions, will also be involved with ULA, although it's less legally written in, like they have to do it that way. But they try to spread launches around to multiple companies as a way of fostering the industry and providing support to those who work in the aerospace industry here in the United States. The other thing I would add is some commercial customers, such as Amazon's Kuiper satellite constellation, have motivations to not buy launches from SpaceX. Jeff Bezos, the CEO or former CEO of Amazon, also
Jeffrey Bezos, sorry,
also the founder of Blue Origin, is not interested in supporting what is directly a competitor. And that's also partially just because Kuiper is a competitor to Starlink. So it's not just a Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk thing. It's also simply a business decision of Kuiper shouldn't launch on a SpaceX rocket. So they went and bought launches from ULA, Blue Origin, and Arianespace instead. And so there's considerations that can make that decision worthwhile as well. As far as pure price consideration, SpaceX still beats ULA on price, even though ULA has made efforts to reduce cost and Vulcan is designed to be more cost efficient than Atlas and Delta were. It still doesn't beat Falcon on a pure cost comparison.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, that's exactly what I was going to go with, is you want more than one launch provider. Even if one is a little bit more expensive, you want to have that dissimilar redundancy, because we all know what happens when you don't have that. Cough, cough, space shuttle, cough, cough, lack of American access to space with crews, cough, for years, cough, cough.
Yep.
Geez, I should get a throat mint or something.
Oh, and here goes a helicopter, I think.
Yeah, looks like it.
There.
That'll be one of those range clearing helicopters, right? Or just verifying the range is still not Oh, we got a Tory tweet. Hashtag Tory tweets. Tory Bruno, the CEO of ULA, says the U.S. Space Force Weather Office is predicting a hole. I think he's misspelling hole here. A hole in the storm formation at 16:15 to 16:30 Eastern. We'll drive for that. Meanwhile, winds aloft are also bad. Atlas is able to accept a real-time trajectory update on the pad. Denver is working at it. Think happy, calm weather thoughts. Denver is where they have
So
additional their ULA offices, right?
yeah, that's the headquarters of ULA, and that's where they can do real-time engineering simulations to support launches. That time is not right because 16:15 to 16:30 Eastern was 2 hours ago. He probably meant 6:15 to 6:30 local, like PM, which is what the window we've kind of just entered. Maybe some clarification on that point would be useful. But yeah, just to clarify that time is not correct.
Yeah, the super informative tweet from Tori there, which is always nice to see. Tori's super active on Twitter. So thank you, Tori, for the information. As if he handed it directly to us. But no, seriously.
So for a question for our engineer, folks on our stream here. We were just talking about why you might pick one provider over another, and it's interesting that they have the ability to do a real-time trajectory update on the pad. Can anybody else do that we know of? I'm just curious because that's pretty cool.
I haven't heard of other companies talking about it. That would be interesting to talk about, but I know that is a capability that ULA has talked about. I have no idea if other providers have any sort of equivalent capabilities because I don't think anyone else has spoken to that.
Yeah, I think other providers do it, but I don't know that we necessarily that it's like a publicized thing that they have talked about. But I believe it is possible for other providers to do that. Let's see. Good
That's pretty
question.
cool.
Yeah, good question, Julia. Thank you. Let's see. Roseanne DeVasto, thank you for the support. She says, Weather Channel radar shows it's clear. I'm looking at clouds, but they don't look as bad as the ULA radar shows. Very interesting. Well, rest assured, I'm certain that ULA has very, very good radar, and what they're seeing is what is there.
All I can add to that is what we're seeing is better than yesterday. I can say that much.
That's good. That's very
That's
good.
good.
Ian, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
We're gonna veer straight off the beaten path here.
Here we go.
Michael Oliver is asking, what is the difference between Saturn 1 and 1B?
I answered this in chat, actually. It's a very good question, but for
Oh,
those who are
nice.
unaware, the Saturn 1B, I mean, as you would guess, is an upgraded version of the Saturn 1. It was actually originally called the upgraded Saturn 1, weirdly enough. So the Saturn 1B has a slightly upgraded first stage, slightly upgraded engines, better fins, things along those lines. But the big thing that really shines in the Saturn 1B is its second stage was replaced with the S4B, which was one of the best upper stages ever made, very capable, very powerful engine on that stage. So Saturn 1B was actually able to carry a full command service module with people on board. The Saturn 1 could only carry mock-ups of or boilerplates of the command service module. So Saturn 1B is a much more capable rocket. And actually, if anyone goes to Kennedy Space Center Visitor Center, you'll find a Saturn 1B outside near the in the rocket garden. So yeah, Saturn 1B, very capable rocket that launched all Apollo crews that were not on the Saturn V.
I somehow knew that you would know the answer to that as a Saturn fan.
Oh, Saturn fanboy all day long.
I'm going to throw somebody under the bus. Who is saying they don't like Saturn? Is that Adrian?
I think it was Adrian, or I forget what he said, but yeah.
Adrian thinks that the Saturn V is ugly, and he's wrong.
And he's wrong.
Objectively wrong.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad we can all dogpile on Adrian. Thank you for that.
Adrian, are you serious? Oh my God.
Poor Adrian. He's going to listen to this and be like, what did I do?
Julia's going disappointed mom mode.
Right? She's not mad. She's just disappointed, which is the worst of all. Jay Vog, thank you so much for the support. They say, where does the best public viewpoint for SLS on 39B?
For launch or just in general? For when it's sitting on the pad and there's not hazardous operations, go to Playa Linda for sure. But for launch, Playa Linda will definitely be closed. So then, I mean, the stands by the south gate of Cape Canaveral will actually not be too bad of a spot You could also go to Max Brewer Bridge, probably.
I was gonna say Max Brewer
I
would
was
be a
going to
really
say
cool
Max
spot.
Brewer Bridge.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bill's going to be at you roughly 12 miles-ish as
It
the
might
bird
be
flies from the pad.
it might be a little jammed though if you try and go there on launch day, but if you get there early and stake out a spot, that'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, because Playa Linda will be way too close on launch day.
Darn it. They should Playa Linda should do like I'll sign my rights away ticket where you can you're like, I promise I won't be mad if I lose my hearing or get exploded.
They'll sell
Please
the
let me
Well,
tickets
watch
online.
I
Playa
hate
Linda.
to I hate to break your heart, Jack, but sometimes Playa Linda isn't an option with just the rockets we have now.
Already, yeah.
And then that happens because of the direction of winds and things. So we may plan to go to Playa Linda to watch a launch, and we may get turned around at the end of the bridge because weather says no, nobody's watching there.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be in a spot where debris could potentially be flying if in any event, in any case. Remembering SN11 and being at oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name. Being at the park there at South Padre Island and Isla Blanca, Isla Blanca, whatever you want to call it. And there was debris. That can confirm there was debris that was blown to that location. Although it was very light, like blanketing stuff, but still, that's probably not less than ideal. But still, if Playa Linda had a sign your rights away thing, I would do it because I'm crazy. Let's see, Debbie Geringer, thank you for becoming a PadRat member. Again, thank you so much to all of our members. We've got the membership program. It has a variety of cool perks, including members only emoji. I'm going to throw a Tori into chat. In fact, I'm going to throw a Tori Super Heavy into chat. That's a 5-core Tori. It's very rare. So enjoy the members emoji. Members, enjoy we also do the preview videos and the preview photos and the stuff that goes up live before the daily videos do from Starbase. All kinds of cool stuff happening on the membership program. Discord access at Capcom and above. So thank you to all of our members, and we hope you enjoy the perks. And I see now chat is spamming Tori, which is making me happy.
Love to see it.
Love to see it. And Roseanne is asking, makes me wonder about TWC? I am not sure. The Warring Company? I got nothing. Roseanne. Please tag me in chat and elaborate. Here we go. We have NASA Spaceflight Actual, Chris B in chat spamming the shuttle hugger emoji, which surprises no one.
Not at all.
Let's see. Here's a really good question since we are in a hold for weather and we do not know how that is going to resolve, and we have about just over hour and a half left in the window. Matt is asking, Matt in all caps, I feel like I should scream it, but I'll spare your ears, is asking, if today's launch is scrubbed again, what are the future launch opportunities? Is it tomorrow? How does that work?
Yeah, I believe
sorry, people are saying TBWC is saying the Weather Channel. I am dumb. Anyways, please go on, Thomas.
Yeah, I do believe that they have another backup opportunity 24 hours later, tomorrow, same time, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time. And I believe those opportunities continue as far as they need to.
Excellent. Yeah, and Roseanne confirms the Weather Channel. Thank you, Roseanne. In the future, you do not need to super chat. You can just @ me in chat, and I'll see it pop up. But thank you for the $1.99. We appreciate it.
And we have another weather update here, Jack. The Cape Weather team, and this is just direct from ULA, Cape Weather team indicates a few additional minutes will likely be needed beyond the expected 6:30 p.m. clear time for that anvil rule. So a little bit beyond 6:30 local, which is just 6 minutes from now. A little bit more than that needed for that rule to clear, and they're also still waiting for a new upper level winds measurement to come back in the green range. So those are still the two rules that are being tracked and are currently in violation.
Got it. All right, well, we'll just have to wait and see. Continue holding. Let's see. Mr. Vipitz is asking, will there be an NSF live show this weekend? I do believe we have one planned, so stay tuned for that.
Yep.
Michael Galloway? I wonder if there's any relation to our own John Galloway here with a sort of interesting question saying, if you owned a cow what name would you call it? I would call mine Das. I do not understand this, but I'm reading it out loud on stream, so here we are. I don't know what I would name my cow.
Jack hasn't been here for all the cow puns recently.
Oh yeah, I've been gone for a month, so
It's been a theme in chat to make cow puns. I have no idea why. It started with someone saying if you shot a group of cows into orbit, it'd be the herd shot around the world, and it's gone downhill from there.
I mean, or uphill since it went into orbit.
Heyo.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I regret my decisions. Let's see. Christ Resonant. We already asked about how many more atlases. All right, I'm gonna go through and get some more questions in the queue. Thomas or Ian or Julia, does one of you want to sort of give us a state of the situation, and I will shut my mouth for a minute and look for some more viewer questions.
Yeah, so right now we are in a hold. The launch window did open about, what time is it? Let me check my clock. About 26 minutes ago at 6 o'clock Eastern. So we're 26 minutes into the launch window. The launch window will last 2 hours tonight. So we're in a hold due to weather constraints, specifically the anvil cloud rule. Now, in this great view from Fleet Cam, you can see it is a pretty cloudy day. There are anvil clouds developing around the launch site. And anvil clouds are basically clouds that cause thunderstorms, something that you don't want to encounter while you're flying, something that Apollo 12 learned. So yeah, right now we're in a hold as they are continuing to look at the forecast and seeing how everything is going, how the weather's developing. They are expecting to have a clearing in the storms coming up in about 10 minutes or so. So we're just waiting to see what happens here. Oh, and actually, as I say that, we had a new update from ULA saying the estimated clear time for the anvil clouds has now been extended to 6:45 p.m. So about just under 20 minutes from right now, they're expecting the clouds to clear up a little bit. So yep, right now we are just sitting here chilling, taking some questions. Jack is right now going through looking for some questions. But yeah, we want to answer your questions, keep the interactive live stream going. Atlas 5, as you can see on the pad right here at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, is fully loaded with propellant. So they are ready on that regard. The vehicle looks like it's going good for today. But yeah, we're just waiting for the clouds to clear up. And Jack, do you have some questions ready for us?
Sure do. Right off the bat, Loopy, friend of the channel and some of us,
Hello,
is
Lucy.
saying, got you on a Bluetooth speaker down by Space View. How y'all doing? How are things looking? It smells like low tide here. Ew. Well, I think we just gave you a rundown of where we're at. But hey, thanks for watching, and hopefully we get to see this rocket lift off today. Bum bum bum. Do we want to reiterate what the anvil cloud rule is? Turtle Boy is asking, what is the deal with the anvil cloud rule?
I believe Thomas or Julia might be better at it. It looks like we all lost Julia on comms, but Thomas, maybe
Yeah,
you're better at this?
I can take a swing at it. It's basically when the top part of a storm cloud actually becomes detached and kind of floats on its own. That particular cloud is a potential source of lightning. And so they're looking at their radar screens to track where those clouds are, and if they're within a certain radius of the launch site, which I believe is 10 miles, that violates the weather constraints. So they are looking at those clouds and their probability of generating lightning on the way up, which is the risk they're trying to mitigate. And if they're too close to the pad, that rule goes into violation and prohibits a launch.
Got it. All right. Well, that is what we are waiting for, or one of the things we are waiting for to be cleared here. And most recent update was 6:45 p.m. local is when the estimated clear time is. Although that was just extended, and it could be extended again. And chat is just absolutely going ham, or should I say going beef, with the cow puns. You sounded so disgusted. I'm sorry, Ian. Oh, man. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's see. Kyle D is asking, what's your favorite space shuttle and why is it Discovery? Wrong, it is Atlas.
Oh, my favorite shuttle is Discovery because Discovery was the workhorse of their shuttle fleet. It did several servicing missions to the Hubble Space Telescope as well as it deployed the Hubble Space Telescope. So that's why Discovery is the best shuttle.
No, Atlas is the best because it's the spookiest.
What's
sorry.
the next question, Jack?
I'm sorry, hold on. Jack, you just called it Atlas twice.
Sorry, Atlantis. My brain no work good. I'm going to drink more coffee.
We're looking at Atlas
Yeah.
right now. Maybe that's what's on your mind.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
also
that's
the correct answer is Columbia, and I won't take other answers.
okay. Fair. It did have the sweet chimes, so
I respect Columbia.
let's see. James Atkinson just says NASA spaceflight. Period. I just wanted to point that out. Haha.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed. Jelly is asking, does the fuel for Atlas also get delivered by tankers like at Starbase, or is it with pipes? It's tankers, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, and Scott Manley in chat piping in to say Enterprise is cooler because it had the nose probe.
Wrong.
Oh, all right.
Sorry. I like that everyone is totally, absolutely allowed to have their own opinions, but at the same time, we're like very obstinate and like, no, you're wrong. But it's a friendly wrong. It's not like we're actually, we're not being mean about it. We're just being, it's like a friendly rivalry, like sports teams, I imagine, since I know nothing about sports. We have a tweet. We have another Tory tweet, hashtag Tory tweets, which means I'm going to spam some Tory members emoji in chat. Boom. Tory says, dang anvil cloud is parked on top of the pad. Everybody take a deep breath, face east, and exhale. All right.
All right,
well,
I got you, Tori. No worries.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do much good from California, so that's all on you guys on the East Coast there.
I mean, I'm in Virginia, so I guess I face south.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, it'll all help. I just love that he says dang. I'm like reading this in Boomhauer's voice from King of the Hill, like, dang old anvil cloud, tell you what, man, no launch.
Dang anvil clouds.
I love it. Let's see. So another update there from Tori. Hopefully this anvil cloud rolls out or floats out or whatever, and we can get this rocket off the pad today. Let's see here. Another weather update. Upper level winds are green. Yay! Upper level winds are green. Latest weather balloon has determined winds are within limits and persistent to enable liftoff of Atlas V. So now there's no longer two issues. It is just the one. It is the anvil cloud rule that is being violated. And there is just under an hour and a half left in the window.
Really quick, if this is of interest, we have a pretty large showing of KSC security right now. I don't know if that's something of interest, but that's definitely something the camera could show if that was a thing.
I mean, you have piqued my interest, certainly.
As in, like, police cars or like helicopters, or what's happening?
No, that's not exactly what I'm thinking. I'm thinking more along the lines of the wildlife form of security that frequents Florida.
Yeah. What do you got? A whole bunch of alligators or something floating around?
We have a large gator that has made its appearance known. Let me know if you want me to point the camera that way. I'll defer to our director in the back channel, but let me know if you want me to do that. He knows what we've got cameras of. I don't want to have no rocket views right now.
Alrighty. In the meantime, Jim Cavett, thank you for the super chat. They say bacon or hamburger. Why do we have to choose? Why can't it just be a bacon burger? Thank you for the support, Jim. Alexander Ash saying, would you bring out collectibles in shop? I mean, we kind of do some like limited time things. We do like some stuff that's timed for specific events. I don't know about collectibles, but it's certainly something we can think about. Thank you. Let's see. Musical Wolves with the cow thing. Cow launched over the moon. Yeah, I'm not gonna read that. Sorry, Musical Wolves, but good try.
Wow.
Oh, that is a big gator. Holy
There's
cow.
a floating island over there.
Do not walk on floating island.
Oh, do not touch floating island.
Do not get near floating island. Run away from floating island. Or alternatively, swim away.
I like that. Like how you know how snakes are called danger noodles? Could we call like alligators floating islands? Or maybe
danger log.
Island?
It's a danger log.
Danger log, yep.
Let's see here. Wow, Thomas, great track. I get it, because we always say great track when there's a launch.
He's practicing.
Yeah. Oh, he's zooming in on the eye. Look, that's creepy. It's got bloodlust in its eyes. So that's Florida for you. Just remember, if it comes at you, Thomas or Julia, zigzag and run, or really just run. You'll be fine. Let's see. Here's one I don't know if we're going to know the answer to, but as we put the camera back on Atlas, Alan is asking, why is Atlas called Atlas? I mean, I imagine it has something to do with the, what is it, Greek or Roman mythology, like Atlas, the holding up the Earth and being really powerful or something like that. Do we know why it's called Atlas?
I think so. It started back in the 50s when they were developing all the different missiles. There was the Thor, Atlas, Titan, and if you think about it, those are all from mythology. So they took a
Yep.
bunch of names from mythology. I don't know which mythology, honestly, Greek, Roman, one of those. I know Thor is Norse. But yeah, it was from mythology, but then Atlas has evolved from Atlas A, B, C, all the way down to Atlas H, and then 1, 2, 3 to Atlas 5 that you're looking today. So this vehicle has about 60 years of launch heritage behind it. So pretty cool.
I'm really tempted to make like a Atlas H5 full thrust block 5 1.1 sort of joke. I guess I just did. Steven is reporting that they have sunshine at the press site, which I take as a good sign for the weather. So fingers
Yeah, a little bit of
crossed.
sun breaking through some of the clouds. There's still some higher level clouds that are like refracting, I think is the right word. I'm not a lightologist, but refracting some of the sunlight. But the sun, we have a little bit, and that is an encouraging sign that maybe we're going to get a hole in the weather here.
Scott Manley in chat. Hello. What's up, Scott? Saying
Hello.
Atlas in mythology was a Titan, FYI. Thank you for that.
Ah, okay. But funnily enough, the Atlas rocket is not a Titan rocket. Or anyway, move on. That's lame.
On today's episode of We Confuse Our Viewers, let's see. Anthony, go ahead.
I was going to say, with the last weather forecast we had, the clearing will be at 6:45 while we're discussing the weather. So we're about 9 minutes away from hopefully the clouds beginning to clear up a little bit over the launch pad.
And you
again,
can
it's a
see
view
on
from
Fleet Cam there. Yep.
A kind of a messy situation there.
Well, hopefully it clears up in the next 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Or at least it clears enough that we see that we're trending positive. What else do we have? Rolf Whitting is saying yes to Crococam. So I think Chad approved of Crococam. Good job, Thomas.
No worries.
Could we get the autonomous tracking software to track the alligator?
I bet it would work. Michael wrote really good software, so I bet it would work.
Maybe, is there a lower limit on the speed though? Like it might be too slow.
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I don't know. Stratolaunch is pretty slow, and it does fine with that. Let's see. Jim Cavett, thanks for the support. They just say simply Gator Burger. Okay. Thank you, Jim.
More of a fan of Gator tacos myself, but I respect it.
I've had Gator a couple times, having grown up in Florida, but the allure of eating Gator is not like, delicious Gator. It's just like, ooh, I ate Gator, which, it kind of just tastes like chicken. So
yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's something to do, I guess, once, or at least maybe I'm being a fuddy-duddy. Maybe somebody eats Gator and is like, this is the best food. This is ambrosia of the gods. So I don't know. Maybe it's your thing. So if it's your thing, go get a Gator Burger. Enjoy. Let's see. Jim Cabot again saying, reminds me of the Roadrunner and Coyote Anvil. I guess talking about the Anvil clouds. Let's see. Hopefully this is not an Acme rocket. Anthony Monaghan? Anthony Monaghan? I'm sorry. Anthony is asking, why no spaceports on the equator? That's a good question. Is there like any suitable land right on the equator? I guess there probably is. Why no spaceports on the equator? Somebody take this and run with it. Go.
Well, there is a spaceport on the equator. There might be more than one, but the one that comes to mind immediately is
Kourou?
Yeah, Kourou in a French. That is, I don't think it's not directly on the equator. I think it's like 2 degrees north of the equator, but that's still very, very close to the equator, and that's where Ariane 5, Vega, and some Soyuz missions launch from. But yeah, there are some on the equator, but there are issues with building and operating a launch site on the equator, such as there's a lot of jungle or there's a lot of desert, both of which are tough to develop in and as well to maintain anything in, really. Desert, it's hard to get water there. It's hard to just live there, and in jungle, it's hard to clear it out. It's hard to stop things from rusting. So it's difficult to get to spots on the equator for a launch site. So it doesn't really. I don't think the value in having an equator launch site is kind of worth it, really.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, what do we have here?
Oh, that's the
is
live
continuing to
clouds.
monitor the detached anvil rule. And I wanted to bring up GR Analyst, which is one of the tools that we use at the 45th Weather Squadron to evaluate current radar imagery. Now, what you're looking at right now is called radar reflectivity, and it shows the cloud of concern at approximately 20 to 30,000 feet. This is that detached anvil cloud rule that my colleagues at the 45th Weather Squadron are actively evaluating. Now, the good news is that cumulus cloud is detached anvil cloud is beginning to dissipate. If I've put it forward into time, notice how that cloud is gradually thinning out. And that's what we need to look for in order to get us out of that detached anvil rule. So I do expect an update from my colleagues here soon. We may be able to clear that detached anvil rule for much longer. And really, if we're green on upper level winds, we're not really concerned with anything else at this point. And I do think we have a shot to launch later today. Back to you.
Great to hear there.
I love that we get the back to you, like as if he's actually throwing it back to us. And we have an update. We do have an update. The clear time for the anvil cloud rule has slipped to 7 p.m. Eastern, leaving an hour left in the window. Also, really quickly, I wanted to note Scott Manley, again, hello. It's so cool that Scott watches the streams. Thank you for watching, Scott. And thank you for all your content. Is saying that San Marco is another equatorial launch site in Kenya, and he also mentioned Alcantara. Kourou is 6 degrees north, and they were closer options. Sea launch, of course, launched from the equator. So there you go. Scott Manley, as ever, being extremely informative. Thank you, Scott, and fly safe. Hopefully Atlas flies safe today. That would be optimal. But good question there from Anthony. Christian Brown Productions, thanks for becoming a Red Team member. Let's see. Nikon's in Space says, welcome back. Missed my goofiness. Thank you so much. It's good to be back. Hat Standard Destructor says, boiled onions. I'm not sure why, but thank you, Hat Standard, for the support. Andrew, thank you for the support. Matt C., thank you for the support. They say, what are your all-time favorite rockets? That's really hard. All time? I mean, come on. I do like the shuttle. I also really dislike the shuttle for killing a bunch of people and being way expensive and not fulfilling its stated objective. But in terms of a cool engineering achievement, shuttle I think would be my my choice. And I'm not just trying to curry favor with Chris B here. Does anyone want to quickly go over your favorite all-time rocket? Ian, go first.
Oh, I think I discussed it already, but Saturn V is my favorite. Most powerful rocket. It was way ahead of its time, and derivatives from its technology, such as a J2 engine, the engines in the lunar module, all of those have led to just crazy advances in spaceflight, and we still use some parts from the Saturn V to this day. I think Saturn V had the biggest impact on our space program in terms of technology.
Yeah, good answer. Julia's not here anymore. Darn it. Thomas, favorite rocket of all time? I know it's Ares 1. Come on, just say it.
Nope, Delta 2.
Oh, hey, look at that. Delta 2 is beautiful. Again, Delta Blue. You gotta love it.
Love Delta 2.
I was definitely sad when the final one launched from the West Coast. It was a whole thing. But now we have Firefly at that pad, which is also super cool. I can't talk. Firefly's Alpha rocket looks awesome, so I am not complaining. Let's see here. Taylor is asking, if someone can get on base, can they get to the press site without being press? Thanks for the stream. I don't quite know the answer to that. I know if, like at Vandenberg, if you have base access, you can go and view the launch from basically as close as the press views, but you can't necessarily get to the press site. But
there is a separate viewing area for if you have base access and you want to watch the launch. There's a separate area that's usually pretty close to us, where base employees and things like that go to watch. So you'll have a very similar viewing area, but it's slightly separate from us.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. You don't necessarily want base employees to be chit-chatting with media unless they're authorized to do so. All right, well, that clears out our super chat queue. Thank you again. Seriously, everybody, thank you so much for the support. It is not only meaningful to us, like it's appreciated, we appreciate it, but it also literally enables what we do. So thank you to everyone doing the super chats, gifting the memberships. Thank you to all of our members. And of course, don't forget to check out the sponsor, brilliant.org, if you are in the market for learning more about STEM topics like rockets and science and mechanics and stuff like that. Let's see. Stefan's poking the bear here. Stefan with a super chat that says, "Hate Russia, but best shuttle, Buran." I'm sorry, you're wrong. You're objectively wrong, and I am going to direct your attention to chat right now, where I am typing farewell. Where you can go read the farewell dossier and decide for yourself if Buran actually better. I would argue no. Anyways, it was. I'm not gonna start. You know what? I'm not gonna start. Avoiding the bait. Let's see here. Looking for some more viewer questions as we wait for the Anvil Cloud rule to lift. About 14 minutes for that Anvil Cloud rule per the most recent update from ULA. We are still in a hold. We still have time in the window, but we are waiting for that Anvil Cloud rule to clear. Let's see. Yeah, and Mr. Vipitz in chat, Buran did do some things better, but it was also based on an intentionally supplied flawed design. Thank you. If you believe the CIA, which, if you want to believe the CIA or not, that's your call. Let's see. Looking for some more viewer questions. Oh, what is this?
At the 45th Weather Squadron over at the Morale Operations Center, and we are extending the no-go status on that detached Anvil cloud rule for a little bit longer. And one of those reasons is because that cloud, though it is dissipating, it's still above the limit that we monitor to ensure that cloud does not pose a threat for rocket-triggered lightning. So the clouds that you see there over Cape Canaveral are moving in the correct direction. They are slowly moving from the west to the east, and even though they're moving very slowly, they're also dissipating at the same time. So long as we continue to see that trend, and we still have about an hour and 10 to an hour and 15 minutes left in the window, the trend is our friend, and we're hopeful that that cloud will get out of here in time so that we can launch just after 7 p.m. I'll provide an update as soon as I hear. Back to you guys.
Alrighty. Let's see. Looking for some more viewer questions. Peter is asking, when did we all become old men sitting around and talking about the weather? Well, I can answer that question. The moment I turned 34. 33, I was a youngster. 34, I now feel ancient. Anyways, we are effectively old man yelling at cloud. Jack Daniel is asking, if you don't mind answering a Starship question, will the ship be filled with Starlinks before or after being welded together? Could they be loaded through the dispenser slot? I think the logical answer to this, not that I know anything one way or the other, but the logical answer seems to be it is going to be loaded through the dispenser slot. I think there's been some hardware that we've seen at Starbase that sort of looks like it could be used for that. I certainly, either way, don't think it'll be loaded before they weld it together for a variety of reasons. But there is your brief Starship break in the ULA stream. Hope you enjoyed it. Pacific Northwest or PNW, PN what? I've seen their name a bunch of times, but I've just realized I've never thought about how to pronounce it. Either way, they're saying I'm still a wee pup, which thank you. I don't feel like a wee pup. Anyways, Scott in chat says, as a student pilot, let me tell you that you spend a lot of time talking about the weather. Well, that makes sense. You want to know the weather. You don't want to fly in instrument conditions if you're not instrument rated. That's how bad things happen. Let's see. Greg, thank you for the support. They say a few bucks so you have something to talk about during a long hold. Go ULA. Well, thank you. Unfortunately, that's all the time you bought us there. But thank you. Let's see. The current local time is, what is it, 6:49? Daniel Bradford, or Daniel Bernard, sorry, is asking. So yeah, 6:49 local. Window goes till 8, so just over an hour to go in the window. Let's see. Oh yeah, and Vatasiana in chat saying, Jack, you missed them using the Starlink loader just yesterday. The mystery has been answered. Excellent. Yeah. I have been on vacation, and I am now no longer on vacation, so I am back. So thank you for that. Oh, did we just get Jim Cabot just gifted 5 memberships? Thank you, Jim. That is extremely awesome of you. More gifted memberships for the stream. Let's everybody get a taste of the membership program. If you get gifted a membership because you are one of the more active chatters and members, or I guess viewers on our channel. Oh, are we about to get some audio?
LC, LD, channel 1.
Go LD.
Please coordinate a new T0 with the range 231500Z.
Roger, 231500Z. ALC, LC.
Go ahead.
Please set the clock for 231500T0. Roger. RC, LC.
RC on 1.
Please coordinate with the range, new T0, 23:15:000.
Roger.
All right, folks.
Yep,
That is
you
a
heard it.
T0 of 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time, 23:15 UTC. Looks like they're expecting the weather rules to clear for that T0, so that will be the target.
Just under 24 minutes to go to launch. The countdown itself is at 4 minutes and holding, but in terms of when launch is, just under 24 minutes to go. Let's get this hype train started. The train is sailing. Get on board. That's right. The train sails. It's a hype train. That's what it does.
Okay.
Just deal with it. Just go
Put
with
the
it.
train on a barge.
Yeah, there we go. Bam. And then launch the whole thing into orbit with a Starship.
We are the lamest people.
Or the best. One of the two. Take your
I
pick.
guess.
Seth Martin, thank you for the support.
LC, RC,
Kylie,
net 1.
Go RC.
The range has approved our new T0 time of 23:15:00Z.
Roger. All right, team, T0 is approved. And we are counting.
awesome.
New
Jinx, you owe me a
T0.
Coke.
Oh, all right.
Sorry, go ahead.
But the new T0 has been approved for 7:15 Eastern. That is math. About 23 minutes away right now. Is that right? Maybe. I think
It's actually the amount that's on the upper left-hand side of the screen, Ian. We have this handy-dandy countdown clock that lets us know.
See, Thomas, that's difficult for me to see because I'm stupid. No. But yeah, so just under 23 minutes away from liftoff should things go well.
Is it just me, since I'm a child of the 90s? Every time I hear Handy Dandy, I think Handy Dandy Notebook from Blue's Clues. It's a problem.
Yes. All right. I'm with you, Jack. I'm with you.
Yes.
I was a Blue's Clues fanatic when I was a kid.
All right, cool. So it's not just me. My brain isn't broken. Well, my brain's broken, but for other reasons, not for that reason. Europa Boy, thank you for the support. Travis Cecil's asking us favorite rocket design never actually built. I don't know that we have time for this question right now, even though it's 20 minutes to go, because I'm sure we all like some ridiculous rocket designs that were never built. I'm really a fan of the early Starship designs, like the Mars Colonial Transporter designs and stuff like that were sort of giant space whale looking things. I think they were even bigger diameter. But if anyone has a favorite rocket design that was never built, sound off now or forever hold your peace.
Saturn C8 Nova. Boom.
Ooh,
Basically
Shuttle
Saturn
C.
5, but larger.
Nice. Yeah, that reminds me of Shuttle C, which also would be awesome. Thomas? Thomas doesn't have a favorite rocket that was.
No, I was busy retweeting the new T0. Favorite rocket design that was never built. Technically, does Ares 1 count?
Yeah, I say yes. I somehow knew you were going to say that.
An actual Ares 1. So yeah, we'll go with that.
I'm willing to allow it.
Or Saturn 5 with a nuclear third stage. Anyway, I'll stop.
Ooh. Kylie Williams, thank you for the $10 Australian. They say, hello from the future in Sydney, NSF team. Great to hear you back on stream, Jack. Always love your enthusiasm. As much as a hold isn't fun, I've never heard of anvil clouds before. I've learned so much. You've never heard of anvil clouds? Maybe that's just like growing up in Florida. I heard of them a lot. But yeah, that's a thing. Thank you for the kind words. Patient Blau. I wonder if they're German. Became a Padrat member. Thank you, Patient or Patent. Awesome. We got a bunch of new members on the stream because people are signing up for the membership program, which is awesome because it's a huge help for what we do, and it's a cool way for you to get interesting perks like the Tory emojis I'm about to spam in chat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, that was 6. That was 6 stories.
Ooh.
And of course, we've had all the Masked Dingo in chat says dinosaur. Dinosaur would have been an awesome rocket that was unfortunately never built. Unless was it?
Ooh.
Conspiracy theory sounds.
Speaking of dinosaur, we have a alligator in the water there.
Yeah.
The
I wonder,
the Coast Guard is on patrol.
Thomas and Julia, we have you back now?
I see our little friend out there.
Uh,
Far enough away that I'm feeling okay about being out of my car. Sure.
I feel like when the rocket launches, you're focusing on the rocket, right? But I'm curious, is there any kind of reaction from the gators when the rocket launches? Or are they just sort of indifferent, like whatever, I'll eat that, I'll eat you, I'll eat anything. I'm a gator.
I don't know how gators react. I only know that dolphins come out and frolic. But I'll let you know if I see a gator frolicking too.
Uh-huh.
And the fish jump. I'll give you that. The fish jump too.
That's pretty cool. The fish are just like, the world's ending.
And the birds, well, they just say, and they fly away. So
I love it. Let's see. And of course, chat is spamming gator emojis now, as they should. Sorry, mods. Again, if you guys have any questions at NASASpaceflight, and your question will show up in chat. I'm just looking for some more questions. Again, we are about 18 and a half minutes to go from the new updated T0.
Yeah, for anyone who's just tuning in, like Jack said, we are just over 18 minutes from liftoff. Launch has been pushed to 7:15, so an hour and 15 minutes into the launch window, due to a few launch constraints along the way, including upper level winds and anvil clouds. Anvil clouds are still kind of a problem, but they're expecting them to be cleared up by 7:15. But no matter what happens, we have about an hour left in the launch window today. It lasts until 8 p.m. Eastern.
Excellent. You said along the way, and I immediately thought, like, the real launch constraints are the anvil clouds we make along the way. I don't know. I apologize. I sincerely apologize.
I've missed having you on stream, Jack.
Jack, I would say that thanks to weather constraints, it's the friends we make on the streams because they tolerate us while we just keep going with those delays. So thank you, friends.
Sure enough. I would argue some of our very best and most fun streams are the ones that are significantly delayed or at least extended. Like some of those 12-hour Starship streams from back in the day. Who, buddy?
The early tank watching streams, nothing will ever beat it.
I feel like it's been a long time since I've mentioned bacon on stream, so in case you're a new viewer, the best way to cook bacon is in the oven, 400 degrees cold. Just put it in a pan. You're good. Don't argue with me.
Cold.
Yeah, cold. You put the bacon in the oven cold. You don't preheat. Anyways, if you want more bacon tips, at me on Twitter.
Jack, I 100% understood you. Just so you know, I know what you meant.
Okay, good. Thank you. Let's see. Where did it go? Somebody was asking about here we go. Oh no, I lost it again. Somebody asked, because the rocket is launching later, does that equal more fuel consumption? That's not how rockets work, right?
No. That's a good question, though. Basically, the rocket flies more or less the same trajectory no matter where in this window it launches, especially because it's going to geostationary orbit, which means the point in geostationary orbit that you reach when you launch. Oh, sorry.
Is ready to launch. Mission Director. This is the Mission Director. You have permission to launch. Proceeding with the count.
If the rocket is ready for flight and the weather is within the launch commit.
Oh, there we go.
In the go for launch.
T-minus 10, 9.
Yeah, they were supposed to be doing a poll there, I think, and they're showing sort of a pre-packaged launch highlight reel. But yeah, we should be getting a go no-go poll here in a second. Let's see. Christopher, thank you for becoming a Red Team member. Musical Wolves, asking, does ULA recycle anything during the hold? Like, I don't think they like pump, RP1 out and pump it back in or something, right?
So the RP1 on the first stage, the kerosene, that's loaded very, very early in the countdown. As in, that was probably loaded very early today.
Atlas can just sit there with the kerosene in it, right? Isn't that standard?
The kerosene was actually loaded pretty much immediately after reached on rollout day, which was Wednesday. It's one of the first things they do when they get out to the pad. On missions that they do a wet dress rehearsal before the launch, they actually just keep the kerosene loaded in, even when they roll it back to the VIF. But yeah, for this mission, they rolled it out on Wednesday, and one of the first things they did was load the kerosene. And the kerosene would have stayed loaded in all the way until now.
Got it. I'm just looking for some more viewer questions. We're getting close here, though. 14 minutes to go. This is a total Thomas question here, maybe an Ian question, but I'll go with Thomas. Nub340 is asking, in theory, is there ever a scenario where launching from one of the poles would be advantageous?
Those clouds that you see on satellite behind me continue to thin, and I just got word from the meteorologists over at the 45th Weather Squadron that we are now go for the detached anvil rule, and that means we're go on all Lightning launch commit criteria. So good news, we are progressing well towards that 7 p.m. liftoff time. All things are go from weather. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, 45th Weather Squadron. But to answer the question, launching from the poles would be greatly advantageous if you are going to a polar orbit. In theory, the closer you are to the equator, the more energy you have to fight to get into a polar orbit because you're fighting Earth's rotation, which is why launching from places like Vandenberg or Kodiak, which are not particularly close to the equator at all, are pretty good for those polar launch inclinations. Of course, the logistics of setting up a launch site at the North or South Pole would be difficult, so you're probably never going to actually do that. But physically, simply from the mechanics of getting into orbit, that would be advantageous for those orbits.
Got it. All right, cool. Well, as we get into the business end of the countdown with just over 12 minutes to go here, I do want to take a moment and say thank you so much to our sponsor for this launch stream and for so many of our streams lately, Brilliant.org. Brilliant.org is an awesome website that you can use to learn more about a variety of STEM topics. And in fact, they have a course on the famous rocket equation. If you've ever heard people talk about the tyranny of the rocket equation and you're not quite sure what they're talking about, this would be an excellent place for you to start as part of their classical mechanics course. And the cool thing about Brilliant is you're not just watching a video, you're not just reading something, it's interactive, and you are able to sort of work through problems like this, and there's explanations. And I mean, I learn better when I'm doing something hands-on with myself rather than reading something in a book or just being instructed by somebody else. So definitely check out Brilliant. We're putting the link in chat. Another way you can support us is to go check out that link. I know you're watching the stream right now and we're about to watch a rocket launch, so I don't necessarily expect you to go over there right this second, but we're putting the link in chat, opening it up in another tab, and we will really appreciate you doing that and showing the sponsor some love, and it helps out what we do. But we have an example question here as part of that rocket equation course. What answer do you all think is the right one here? Is it A? Is it B? Is it C? Or is it D? I mean, I've always wanted to do this whole fire extinguisher in a chair thing, if it actually works. I assume it works because the fire extinguisher provides some thrust. I think the answer is C, although Scott Manley in chat is saying all the answers are wrong. But there, it says it's A. It's a constant amount of thrust. Well, there we go. And if we're confused as to why that is the right answer, we can show explanation and get a good explanation as to why the correct answer is in fact A. So yeah, and I see a lot of people in chat saying C too, so I guess I feel a little bit less silly. But point being, Brilliant is an excellent way to learn about STEM topics, learn about the rocket equation, learn about whatever tickles your interest. There's like computer vision courses. There's all sorts of fascinating topics on Brilliant. And just once again, thank you so much to them for supporting what we. Yeah, and Scott is saying the thrust drops because the pressure in the extinguisher drops.
Yeah.
Scott, assume a perfectly spherical, perfect extinguisher,
Right,
etc.
I was gonna say, if you assume an ideal fire extinguisher, I think that's how it works out. I think that's
Oh
what they're
man,
saying.
yeah, there we go. But either way, thank you so much to Brilliant for sponsoring what we do. It is huge. And then once again, that link is in chat. Click the link, open it up in another tab. In 10 minutes after Atlas has launched and after we're done with our stream, go check out Brilliant. And we appreciate you supporting the sponsor because they support us. And SNM Science Nature Math says spherical cow, which of course they said that. Oh man. All right, we're coming up on a go no go poll here, right?
Yes, so yeah, we should be coming up on the go no go poll, and we talked about it earlier. The go no go is basically the last minute check of is everything working perfectly. So they're going to go around launch control, basically ask everyone, so hey, booster, engines, guidance, computers, all of that, is everything working well at your station? And we're going to be listening in on that here. And should everything be good, then we will be go for a launch just about 10 minutes away.
Excellent. Yeah, 9 minutes to go. 9 minutes? 9 minutes. There, I solved it myself. I did the reference myself. We can move right on. Cameron Roth, thanks for becoming a Red Team member. Once again, thank you to all of our members. Roseanne, thank you for the support. They say, I get notices with a link of new YouTube stuff available. When I click it, it advises I can't view on my iPad. That's odd. Maybe like DM me or ping one of us on Twitter or something. I'm not quite sure how that works. I typically use the web browser on my computer for that stuff, so we might need a full-on computer. Maybe you like do the reload desktop website or something option. That might do the trick. Sorry, I'm not more helpful there, Roseanne. And Musical Wolves asking, we're talking about recycling a little bit there. We said the kerosene just sort of sits in Atlas. Does the LOX get recycled, Thomas?
Yeah, so liquid oxygen, and of course, this also goes for the liquid hydrogen on the Centaur stage. They're both so cold that they'll be boiling off while they sit in the tanks, so they need to be pumped back into the storage tanks, and then they can be recycled for another attempt. But the kerosene sits at ambient temperature, doesn't boil off or anything, which is why it does not need to be pumped back and forth for launch attempts.
Excellent. Thank you for the good answer there. And once again, Nub was asking about advantageous, if it's ever advantageous to launch from the poles. You were kind of in the middle of that earlier, Thomas.
Yeah, basically, if you're at the pole, you don't have to fight Earth's rotation, so going to a polar orbit from that location would be beneficial. It would be very difficult to get to a lower inclination orbit from the pole, however, you'd have to do a dog-leg maneuver. So it depends on where you're going.
Also, Scott Manley mentioned in chat, polar launches would be ideal for sun-synchronous orbits because you need to go slightly retrograde for a sun-synchronous orbit, so you wouldn't be fighting Earth's rotation either.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and sun synchronous is good for like, we're going to get a go, no go.
Go, no go pool.
Stand by. Oh, they're just showing the graphics so far, I guess. But yeah, sun synchronous is good because you go over the same point of the Earth with the same lighting conditions every time, so it's really nice for optical satellites that are imaging the Earth. So you get consistent lighting, and so you can do things like analyze the shape of a shadow over time to see how something is growing or changing or what have you. All kinds of cool stuff that can be done.
L-minus 7 minutes. Status check to proceed with terminal count. Atlas systems, propulsion. Go. Hydraulics. Go. Pneumatics. Go. LO2. Go. Water. Go. Centaur systems, propulsion. Go. Pneumatics. Go. LO2. Go. LH2. Go. Has gas. Go. Electrical systems, airborne. Go. Ground. Go. Facility. Go. RFFTS. Go. Flight control. Go. GCQ. Go. Operation support. Go. COM. Go. Umbilicals. Go. ECS. Go. Redline monitor. Go. Quality. Go. Ops safety manager. Go. ULA safety officer. Go. Vehicle system engineer. Go. Anomaly chief. Go. Range coordinator.
Clear to proceed.
Launch director.
Standby, awaiting POLs for winds.
Roger. I will hold prior to coming out of the count.
What was that? Something about winds?
It sounds like they might be waiting for one more data point on upper level winds, so we'll stand by. They're waiting for one final check mark. They are not yet go for launch.
Go, little weather balloon, go.
And LD, LC, that one.
LD.
Are you expecting to get a clear in the next minute and a half?
Yes, we are. This is the LD. Launch vehicle is ready to launch.
Roger. Mission director.
Mission Director, you have permission to launch.
Proceeding with the count.
There you go.
ALC.
There was the final go.
All right. We are proceeding with the count. We are 5 minutes and 15 seconds to go until Atlas lifts off the pad and launches these two payloads into orbit. Wafav and the, oh gosh, what was the other one? Ian, go.
ESPA. The other one is ESPA, a free-flying secondary
ESPA.
payload adapter.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, we are just under 5 minutes to go. Atlas will be launching at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time as the weather has finally decided to cooperate after a scrubbed attempt yesterday and a sort of protracted attempt today. But yeah, let's see if we can get one or two more final questions. Or does anybody else have sort of a quick overview they want to do? Since we might have some new viewers since we started the stream.
I'll have a quick one here. So we mentioned the two different payloads. They are going directly to geostationary orbit. So the ascent profile that we're going to expect to see here from our cameras on the ground, as well as the official cameras we get, and some of the onboard telemetry that ULA will be providing, starts with 4 solid rocket boosters and the RD-180 main engine starting up on the pad. That will begin the initial ascent. Once those solid boosters burn out, 2 of them will separate at first, followed by a couple seconds later by the other 2, and then it will be on to the main first stage engine to power the remainder of first stage flight. During that ascent, we'll also see the payload fairing separate. This is a 500 series Atlas. So the fairing separates before the second stage separates. The second stage and its payloads are both encapsulated in that 5.4 meter diameter payload fairing. So the fairing will separate. Once the first stage fuel levels are depleted, the engine will shut down, the separation motors will fire, and the Centaur stage will be released. The Centaur stage will carry those 2 payloads initially into an initial parking orbit, low Earth orbit. After a coast phase, there will be a burn to raise the apogee of that roughly circular orbit out to geostationary altitude. Then there will be a second coast phase that's much longer, all the way out to geostationary altitude before the upper stage fires one more time to circularize the orbit, also negating any of the inclination it has. It'll go to a 0-degree inclination, so flying directly over the equator before releasing the satellites. That's a multi-hour campaign. Our coverage will be for the initial phases of flight, which are again expected to begin in just about 3 minutes now with RD-180 ignition, solid rocket booster ignition, and liftoff from Pad 41 here in Florida.
Excellent. Yeah, Pad 41 from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. Thomas, with that, I will let you... you're the one operating the camera, right? I'll let you get things all buttoned up and ready to go for launch as you get prepared to track this thing flying into space. Doesn't that sound cool?
You got it. We'll see you on the other side. Enjoy the show.
Indeed. Have fun tracking that rocket. And I know I'm excited for the launch, but I know someone else is probably really excited for launch. I want to say hello to Lucas from Dallas, Texas. He's only 6 years old, but he's clearly already interested in space. So, Lucas, I hope you're excited to see this launch. I know we all are. All right, 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go. It just occurred to me that we never sorted out who was going to do the callouts. Ian, would you like to do the callouts for this? Do you have the timeline?
I do not have the timeline, but I will find it.
All right, yeah, we do things live here. This is how we do it. 2 minutes to go for Atlas 541. That is 4 solid rockets, solid motors, I guess I should say, on this vehicle. And yeah, there's a 1 engine on the Centaur upper stage. We've got the 5 meter fairing, and we are launching directly into oh my god, geostationary orbit. So that is what we're looking at. We got 1 minute and 30 seconds to go. Once again, thank you to everyone who supports the channel. Thank you to all of our members. Definitely consider the membership program if you have not already. And if you don't want to be a member, at least just hit the like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed already. We've got boatloads of content for y'all, so we appreciate the support from everyone. 1 minute and 10 seconds to go. And don't forget, I will specifically, be quiet for launch so you guys can hear the rumble of this Atlas, of the Dominator, which I guess is this variant of Atlas. So definitely get your headphones ready, or get everything situated, because we're now 45 seconds away from launch.
Yeah, and like Jack said, we're going to guide you. I'm going to guide you through liftoff. But for the first minute, maybe minute and a half, it's going to be very, very loud. So enjoy those noises. We won't be talking for the first minute and a half. But yeah, enjoy the launch, everyone.
Yep, 25 seconds to go.
And while we have a moment here, just something you could expect during the first minute of launch. At about T+1 minute, the vehicle will be going supersonic and it will undergo maximum aerodynamic pressure. So 2 things to look out there for in the first minute, but 10 seconds away from liftoff of the Atlas V.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition, and liftoff.
Liftoff.
Look at that beautiful plume.
Beautiful. And Atlas V carrying 2 payloads to geostationary orbit.
Leaping off the pad, and let's listen in for that audio.
Love seeing that quick pitch downrange. And as the sound is trailing off here, the next event coming up will be the solid rocket booster jettison. You can actually see 2 of the 4 SRBs right there in the center of your screen. Those will be ejected in the coming seconds. The vehicle has passed through maximum aerodynamic pressure and is on its way to space. And some beautiful shots of the curve of the Earth as Atlas ascends towards space, and the first 2 boosters and the second 2 boosters have separated. Looks like a clean booster separation there on Atlas.
Yeah. Wow, and look at the pitch maneuver there after those solids separate. We were talking about how it's kind of a lofted trajectory, and you can see it visualized right there.
Yeah, the vehicle is...
Go ahead.
I was going to say the vehicle is now going very horizontal as it begins to get horizontal velocity to get itself into orbit.
Right, because getting into orbit is not about going up necessarily, it's about going sideways really fast.
Exactly. Now about 2 minutes into flight, the next thing we'll see in about 1 minute is payload fairing jettison. That is where the large 5-meter diameter payload fairing is separated, exposing not only the payloads but also the Centaur second stage to space.
This is a beautiful shot, but I'm also sort of weeping for all of the clouds that are there. Anybody that was trying to get eyes on it, it probably disappeared in the clouds pretty quickly for those out in Florida and around the area, but what a cool shot from this rocket cam. Hopefully ULA does the thing where they typically do, they release the rocket cam footage and you can get the audio of the solids releasing off. It's always a cool kind of like a clunk sort of sound. And Thomas is reporting in our... Go ahead.
I was going to say, can I report to you how cool it is that we are still hearing this deep rumble long after the SRBs have separated?
Is that typical, or is it sort of like the weather conditions or whatever the conditions of today exactly are affording you extra good sound?
It's the cloud conditions. Yep, definitely. It's the cloud conditions. In fact, we can see, you know how you get the shadow from the contrail?
Yep.
There's a shadow that has popped out from behind the clouds of the contrail, which is another one the photographers were saying, I don't think I've ever seen that.
Very cool. That sounds awesome. I can't wait to see people's shots of it. And speaking of a shot we just saw, there was the fairing separation.
Yes, the payload fairings did separate about 15 seconds ago, but also if you noticed, there was something else that came off the vehicle, about a C-shape looking object. That is the stiffener ring. Now that is attached at the top of Centaur to kind of get some loads away from Centaur during launch. Now launch is a very stressful part of flight, obviously. The vehicle pulls about 3 or 4 Gs at maximum. So that stiffener ring is used to get some loads from the payload away from Centaur and onto the payload fairing itself. So we did see payload fairing and stiffener ring separation.
You know, I was going to ask what that was, and you answered my question before I could even ask it. Thank you, Ian.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if stiffening is the right wording, but we are now seeing main engine cutoff, stage separation, beautiful onboard views here, and the Centaur is igniting.
What is that? Have I feel like I haven't seen that before. What is that large object to the left of the engine nozzle? Do we know?
I don't know that exactly. It looks to me like it might be a COPV, a composite overwrap pressure vessel, that
Aha.
might be used for the hydrazine RCS system, but I'm not entirely certain though.
Interesting.
It's
Very
either
cool.
hydrazine, to be just for helium for tank pressurization. That'd be my personal bet, but I don't remember off the top of my head either.
Yeah. But either way, it looks like we've had a successful ignition on the RL-10 engine. That is the engine you're looking at right now, a very storied engine, about 60 years of flight experience there. And all looking good here on the way to orbit. Again,
Yep.
this is burn 1 of 3 for Centaur. This burn is getting it into a low Earth parking orbit, around 200 kilometers 200 kilometers in altitude, and there will be 2 more burns later today.
Interesting that we can see the exhaust. Well, we can't anymore, but we can see the exhaust from the RL-10 engine, which is hydrolox and normally burns pretty clear. That was a cool shot. I wonder if that's like the lighting conditions with the sun backlighting the plume or what, but here we go. This is the shot that we always like to see, and of course it changes. It was an empty launch pad. Empty launch pad good on launch day because it means the rocket launched. And you can see the contrail there. Wow. That looks excellent. Always gotta love Fleet Cam. If you guys didn't know, Fleet Cam's a 24/7 live stream that we do on this channel from Port Canaveral. So always feel free to check into Fleet Cam at times like this, or just whenever you're wondering what's going on in the port, if there's a SpaceX booster coming back in or what have you. But here we go. This is an empty pad. That is what we want to see. Let's see. Really quick, Moldy Space gifted 5 Red Team memberships. Thank you so much, Moldy Space. That is extra awesome of you. Always coming out with so much support, fun questions, just hanging out and being a guy. So thanks so much, Moldy Space.
And again, for anyone who just tuned in, we saw a successful liftoff of Atlas V, carrying USSF-12 to orbit.
I like how in our back channel we're fighting about the nomenclature. Technically, booster engine cutoff is BECO, and second stage cutoff is MECO. Yeah, either way.
I do not like that. I do not like that.
I am here for this debate. But yeah, that looks like what we wanted to see. They found a hole in the weather and they were able to launch. We're 7 minutes and 30 seconds into flight. And yeah, I guess that's where we are at this moment. Like Ian said, Centaur is headed for a parking orbit. And from there, I think Thomas reiterated that it was like a 5-hour campaign to get everything into its final destination. But
yes, 7 hours overall. We're about 6 hours away from the first payloads being deployed, and 7 hours away from the total end of the mission.
Got it. And yeah, we would be showing you more views of the rocket, but I guess ULA decided to do an interview with a Space Force personnel member with the rocket still on the pad, which is just kind of odd. Like, we just saw it launch. Why is there a canned interview with the rocket on the pad? I don't know. Maybe
Jack,
I'm just
missed it. That's their secret second launch pad.
Aha!
This first launch was a diversion.
I was gonna say that must be the secret second pad, because I see ULA personnel going out, and they must be going out to the secret second pad.
There we go.
That's a
Tinfoil,
straight 41 and 3/4.
Tinfoil hat intensifies. Thank you. Oh man. So yeah, I'm floored right now. We got to see this thing launch. I was starting to get iffy there. And look, we've got rocket views again. Well, pseudo rocket views at least.
Kinda, yeah.
Pretend you're playing
It's live
Kerbal with
telemetry,
realism
so it's
overhaul.
real. It counts. Yeah.
Okay.
Live telemetry means it counts.
Thanks. Question: before today's mission, what was the most recent payload launched by an Atlas 541 rocket?
Good question. I don't know the answer.
Ooh. Mars 2020 question mark? Oh, nope, goes to you.
Ghost
I was wrong. Rip me.
Hey, we're doing a live Q&A reaction.
Oh,
Ghost.
no.
It's pronounced
I
ghost.
forgot ghost. Well, the
Ghost.
reason I forgot is because it's no longer ghosty. It's Wenty.
So this is a Wenty.
Oh.
Like, you know, sir, this is a Wendy's. Anyways,
Yeah.
jokes. We tell jokes here.
But
We
anyway,
also-
something relevant to launch.
Yeah, please.
Actually, something I just completely misread. Never mind. Back to you, Jack.
Oh, never mind.
I was looking
So-
at the time. I'm like, wow, we're 500 kilometers up. That's very lofty. But no, that's the time in seconds.
It almost looks like, well, if the question thing hadn't popped up, it almost looks like the top payload WFAV has grid fins, but no, those are solar panels.
Oh, that would be bad if it had grid fins.
Yes, indeed it would. And chat is making cow jokes, doing what chat does. I'm like, I half want to be reading these questions from ULA. I wish they like put it up in the corner so we could still see the rocket. But you can see in the top right, you can see the perigee rising as Centaur does its job.
Yeah, and we're coming up just a few seconds away from MECO, what they call it, main engine cutoff, where this Centaur will shut down its RL-10 engine. That will place it into about a 200 by 200 kilometer parking orbit. After that, there will be a short coast phase. So coming up here on main engine cutoff.
But it's the second stage. It's not the main engine. The main engine is on the boost. I'm
It is
sorry.
absolutely not the main engine.
Ah.
And some beautiful views here. Oh, actually, they got it away. Perfect.
All right, and cutoff.
Awesome. So yeah, we are in a 166 by 359 kilometer orbit. There's going to be some slight changes to that. They're going to use the onboard hydrazine thrusters on Centaur to do some fine tuning, get them to exactly where they want to be before they reignite in about 20 minutes, I believe.
All right. Let's see. Matthew Ferrari saying wet air conducts the sound better. Yeah, I mean, that must be part of it, or at least the sound like reflecting off the clouds. Either way, I think that is it for us today. The crew out there in the field is going to need to wrap up. Thank you so much to Julia and Thomas for being out there and doing what they do to get us views of rockets launching into space.
Our pleasure. Thanks, Jack and Ian in the studio, as well as Michael Baylor pushing the buttons and pulling the levers. But me and Julia are signing off. Thank you all for watching.
Awesome. Well, thanks again to the both of you for helping out get us these views of launch. Ian, thank you for being on the stream with me and providing some much needed intelligent commentary to balance out my idiocy.
We balance each other out. But yeah, it was great to be here. Beautiful launch after an hour and 15 minutes of waiting.
Sure enough. And of course, I am Jack, the voice who is talking now. Thank you, everybody, for putting up with me. And thanks for watching. With that, you can now go to that separate tab that I told you to open up and check out our sponsor, Brilliant, and support our channel in that way. It would be really mean a lot to all of us. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.
We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be normal.
Chamber pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger, roll, Atlantis. Water towers can fly! Yes!
Tango Delta nominal.
Flight outside SC off. Bring in SC off.
Yikes. You bet. Concur. We don't need any more of these.